Today we are going to talk about Crowder, not Ben. If I said Ben, sorry, I mean Crowder. I tried to find it, but it kind of took a while because I think it's like I think either YouTube or Steven Crowder himself took the video down. That's what we're going to talk about, and it's like almost every single time I want to talk about Crowder, it seems like YouTube or Crowder himself just takes the video off, so I can't expose a lot of horrible takes. Yeah, there was a lot of comments from videos that were, if I'm correct, either taken down. Yeah, they were taken down, so I couldn't really find them, but I know how to find them now. I think I know how to find them now. And after we do this one from Crowder, we're just gonna do the other ones from Crowder that you haven't listened to or heard because they were, I guess, taken down for good reason. Well, hopefully I won't be taken down for this. People need to know. Okay, people need to know this. Okay, YouTube, but for real, I'm against it, so I think I can actually do this. But before we begin, before we pray, I just want to, I guess you could innocently ask you guys for forgiveness, for an apology, to accept this apology. I went a little bit too far in the last episode. The 3 hour and other minutes of another video with that episode of that podcast. It was so long. I'm gonna try not to be so long to 3 hours, because no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Unless if it's like important, or if it's a debate or a guest I have on, it might take long, the discussion and all, but other than that, no, too long, but gotta keep it short as well, because for me, I can see there's 3 minutes and counting, so, but I just want to apologize and say that I'm sorry, that I should have done better, because if I can't do better, how am I supposed to lead people to Christ? So I am going to do better, I am getting better, I am better in Jesus' name, amen. I did already ask for forgiveness, but I was taught, being honest, if you mess up publicly, you should apologize publicly. So I am sorry, guys, for being very angry and just saying a lot of stuff that might not sound right at that time. But for true, I should have said it better. I was just so angry, but I can't do that. I can't sin. I can be angry, but I cannot sin. And it's a little bit hard, but no, this is right. Michael knows if you're watching, or people who watch Michael knows, I'm sorry for targeting you in a way that I did. What I said was true about you, and fans who are with him, I did say the truth. But I said it in a sinful and wrong way. So I'm sorry about that. To Michael Knowles and people who watch Michael Knowles who might be watching this. Again, that doesn't mean what I said wasn't true. I said it in the wrong way, or in a sinful way, because I was angry and I sinned. I'm sorry. Again, I already asked for forgiveness, but I'm going to do it publicly because I messed up publicly. So, and the Lord told me to do this more as I'm praying, because it's reverence. So, Heavenly Father, Lord, Savior Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, please forgive me how angry I was and I sinned. I already asked for forgiveness, but I am doing this publicly to ask for forgiveness again. And please forgive me for the sins I have committed within the episode of my podcast, the last episode. I truly thank you for forgiving me. I truly thank you that my name is still written in the Lamb's Book of Life. And I truly thank you that I will continue to be more holy, more righteous, more orphans. I truly, truly, truly thank you for that. I truly think that I will never, or I will not get to that point again. And I truly think that you will help me to never, or to not get to that point again. I truly thank you for that. Heavenly Father, Lord, Spirit, Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, I truly thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen, amen. And it's also, humility. I gotta be humble. Okay, the Lord told me I should do with the ending prayer in the beginning, like prayer, and just do it in a way that makes sense. So I'm gonna try this and see if this makes sense. So Heavenly Father, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, I truly think that as we get into all of Crowder's episodes, I truly think that our minds and our hearts and everything will be open, doors will be opened. We'll be able to talk about why what Crowder is saying is wrong or right, but not in the right way or right context, and just get to know him more, again, as human, but wrong in a lot of things, if not a little bit specific. I just truly think you that will, be able to understand why he does this and get my points and my comments on it and just have a conversation within that. Since this is pretty much what this segment is, so I just truly thank you for that, and just truly thank you that, we'll be able to learn and I'll be able to teach and learn things as well. I truly thank you for that, Heavenly Father, and Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit. I truly thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. Okay, I think that's a better way to do it. It might look weird, but yeah, let's get into.
That's called the sit. That's an aggressive sit because I'm going to try and make sure that I can hold this all down. Because today we're talking about Lizzo.
Oh. That's so bad.
So I'm really glad that well, she thinks so. I'm glad that
That's true.
I avoided the pea soup this morning. So it's an eclectic mix today. We're going to be talking about LeBron James, Lizzo. We have the defense attorney from the Eric Chauvin trial,
right.
Eric Nelson.
Derek Chauvin.
Big exclusive. Did I say Eric?
I think
Chauvin?
you said Eric, yeah.
Derek Chauvin, Eric Nelson.
Yes. Willie?
And then, yes, really.
No, I said Willie.
Oh, I don't know. Then we have, we also will be talking about obesity and COVID-19. All of the facts in Columbus, Ohio that were reported by mainstream authoritative sources, they got it wrong. Then Jorge Masvidal is on. He's not only fighting probably one of the biggest pay-per-views ever this Saturday, but obviously he campaigned for Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
And big-time conservative, but he's Cuban, so that's to be expected.
Yes.
They actually understood communism because they lived under it, and then
which
they
experience helps.
floated over here on a couch cushion.
Oh, that was nice of him.
They're very buoyant and very fertile. All right. Gerald A. is here. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Sleepless. I've been talking about this, and I know a lot of people say, well, you can't really cover it because LeBron took down his tweet. Sorry. The king. LeBron James claimed, by the way, back in the day, before he tweeted yesterday, basically called violence, tweeted that he didn't support the violence of the Black Lives Matter riots. We covered it. Oh, well, that's nice. So let's go back to then.
I've never, in my 35 years, ever condoned violence.
Fourscore?
Never had.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot there was a comment. Video is shut up and dribble. It has more than that, but pretty much. Don't give LeBron. Yeah, this is the whole thumbnail. Shut up and dribble. Don't give LeBron James a pass for exciting violence. So you're pretty much, from what I'm seeing, is is that you're saying he should shut up and just play basketball because he's a celebrity and he doesn't understand what's going on. What's going on with conservatives trying to censor people because they believe something that they don't believe? Conservatives are saying it's the left that does it, but that's not true. It's you and them and some conservatives are massively trying to stop voices they don't agree with. That is kind of true in a lot of cases. Yeah, I was trying to make a point there. I didn't even get it, but then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember why I did that. I was trying to make a point. But I think I know why it's called Shop and Dribble. Don't give a drama to the belt because you'll see more in the video. Like an ice cream company having political opinions about someone getting shot by police. And conservatives and people like Michael Knowles thinks that they're undermining they're undermining, I guess our elections. I forgot something, you know what I mean? It's something that makes them triggered, or undermining or they're a danger to our country or something like that. Seriously, you want to talk about the left, and I mean, yes, the left does have or has purity testing. Pretty much purity testing is a term that a lot of extreme leftists do. Like, they have to look through everything. If they see one thing wrong, it was 10 or 20 years ago, highly sus, man. You're sus, man. No. I'm not for purity testing, but I am for making sure that person has a pretty good track record to see, if they've done anything. I mean, if you go to the job, that's what they do. They basically may want to look at your social media because they want to see, what their employee is kind of for or against as an employee. If I'm correct, that's usually what bosses do nowadays. So, watch what you do on the internet because it can change your life or change people's opinions. Which is usually bad, but sometimes good. Sometimes purity testing is good, like, oh, we found out this guy seems to have a long line of X, Y, and Z. Same thing with the Me Too movement. It had good and bad. I think generally maybe more good than bad. You can look that up for yourselves, But of course, if I'm correct, based on what the Me Too movement did, I think it got more good than bad people. I think they got the right people in prison instead of the wrong people. Maybe sometimes the wrong people, but I think they got, most of them, they were the right people to catch. But seriously, conservatives let people say what they want to say unless it incites violence, and it's dangerous, and it endangers innocent lives. What happened was conserving the First Amendment, but we know for now it's the stars with. We know what it is. It starts with an H and ends with a Y. Game. We get it. Hypocrisy, if you guys didn't get it. Here's what I was trying to say is that the right thinks that there's a systemic canceling. No, you're against TOS. That's it, you're really just against TOS. And a lot of times they try to cancel people or say this person shouldn't say that, or this person should be punished for what they said. And now what they're saying now, they should be punished as well? Okay, Crowder. Let's continue.
It's 7.
but I also know what's right. And I grew up in the inner city, in a black community, what we call the hood or the ghetto, however you want to picture it. And I've seen a lot of counts firsthand of a lot of black people, being, I guess, racially profiled because of our color. But not one time have I ever said, let's act violent towards cops.
Until yesterday.
I just said that, what's going on in our
Didn't he
community.
apologize?
Banged my mom.
And we fear for that. And we fear for our lives.
Yeah.
But why? What's with the?
Yeah, that's what, and then what you didn't see is after that clip, he said, I had my fingers crossed. Because yesterday he tweeted out, then removed it against the Columbus cop. What is this girl's name? Is it Micaiah? I've heard Micaiah more. The Columbus cop who rightfully, justifiably, as a matter of fact, I would say requiredly, that's the word, shot Micaiah Bryant. I think it's
I think Micaiah Bryant was the 16-year-old girl who got shot by the cops for being honest. She did have a knife, and she was at midpoint. She was about to stab somebody, and the police officer sadly shot the two. I think they were both 16-year-old girls. The 16-year-old girl. And some people, like me, are like, maybe they could have done something a little bit better. Maybe not a shot in the air, which I used to thought, but I don't think that would help. A fast tackle would have done nice, but shooting might not necessarily be the best case, because this was a teenager. I'm not an adult, but I'm just saying this person was a teenager. We didn't know why she was like that, why she was doing that, and sometimes in very upbeat, well, not upbeat, very I guess hostile like situations, you shoot. But what I'm saying is that can't always be the case where the police officer doesn't know what to do, so he or she or X does bang 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 and not try to do physical means or tackle her. Honestly, from what I've seen, if the cop would have tackled her, I think, depending on the speed of the cop, that's why cops should be a little bit more faster and more training of how to de-escalate without a gun, so we don't, to reduce the amount of lives being lost, because again, we don't know why she did this. The mother seems like she was a good kid. I don't know why she would do that. Now we kind of might never know why, really. Anyways, pretty much better training so people, less people get killed and more people go to prison and maybe be rehabilitated or bail or something like that. Make sure the system works for everybody to have justice, not just shooting anybody. But Crowder doesn't really think like that. I mean, being honest, it does seem like he wants a police state, because he said to himself, we can look at that, we can hear it again.
I've heard Micaiah more.
The Columbus cop who rightfully, justifiably, as a matter of fact, I would say requiredly, that's the word, shot
requiredly. The cop shot her when she was, she was about to stab somebody like this, if I'm correct, and the cop shot her. What he could have done, maybe, is to tackle her, depending on the speed of the cop. If the cop could have shot in the way that he did, he might have had a chance to just bolt it and tackle her. But if you saw the video, maybe that would make it even worse. But maybe the lives wouldn't be taken so early at 16. And again, we don't really know why she did this. And I think it's kind of important because not every day you see a 16-year-old girl trying to stab another 16-year-old girl with a knife. But again, Crowder says that he thinks it should be required to do stuff like that. So it does seem a little bit kind of like maybe a police state. I could be going too far, but maybe he wants a police state.
Micaiah Bryant. I think someone said Micaiah Brown, which is not correct. He posted this picture right here with this caption: "You're next." So hashtag accountability. And he removed it. What's even funnier is afterwards he tweeted out like, "I am desperate for accountability." Yes, we are desperate for you to be accountable.
Yes, Carl, we're desperate for you to have some accountability for your horrible jokes. For real. Like, seriously, be accountable for your horrible jokes. Own it up. This is a comment I think we can do now. A little bit late. Try not to do that, but I think I got it. So the big problem with Crowder and conservatives in general is they think they have to conserve everything. Like, literally every single thing. Heck, they conserve, like, March of 2020 papers from the CDC. I mean, yeah, they do that. Some do that. And anything, especially what people say years ago, except if it's someone who they like / agree with their beliefs, like Trump. Like, they're like, hey, listen, that was years ago, new Trump, you know, he said peaceful, you know, Trump, like, come back, come on. All of the networks, that was a little bit random, but you guys know what I mean. If you guys should remember that was 25,000 years ago, at least. Yeah, I think it was. But, not saying that we can't hold people accountable for what they say. We can. But we have to do we have to do it the right way. The right way is that they apologize, and we're like, yes, they did say this, but they're not this person anymore, based on the track record after what they said and after they apologize. Same thing with forgiveness of sins. We are accountable for what we do and say. So, if we mess up, we ask God to forgive us, and we move on. And we try to have a better track record in life, so we can make it to heaven. We're gonna make some mistakes, but if we own up to those mistakes, ask for forgiveness, forsake them, as in don't do them anymore, don't even bother doing that sin anymore, and try to walk in a righteous and holy way. As a Christian, and as non-Christians who want to be Christians, and sinners who want to come to Christ, we have to do that. We have to be accountable. But also moving on. We can't say, God is not going to say, remember this sin that you did 10 years ago? If you've been forgiven of those sins, God's going to forget it. But if you hold on to that sin, or that sin seems to be a hindering, God's going to be like, you have to let it go. That is true. We have to let some things go. But a lot of times conservatives, and even conservatives who call themselves Christians, don't let go of the truth that Trump lost and Biden won. And that's sad. But, now let's continue on with the comments. And it's been told by conservatives is that the left does that, / this, but the right does it kind of a little bit more, especially people. / conservatives like Crowder don't think that people can change their minds or change their political opinions. Like with Biden, like seriously people can change. 1994 crime bill, that's over with. That's 1994. It's 2021. New Biden, guys. But Trump, the reason why Trump is still Trump, because he still has the rhetoric of himself. He hasn't really apologized that much for a lot of things. He has sometimes, but he's more like, yeah, I am sorry, but look at Antifa, or something like that. a lot of cases. I mean, just look at how he speaks. He does do that. Like, I guess he is sincere, but he's like, listen, I'm sorry, but look at like, we're talking about you, Trump. You're still doing bad things. You gotta move on. You gotta forgive. You know, you gotta ask for forgiveness. You gotta apologize and accept apologies. But look at no, no. We're talking about you. But yeah. Let's continue. Seriously, people can change in general because of the mental, social, cultural environments. Change and other things is kind of obvious, and spiritual, and religious, and political. You know, it just depends on where you are. That's what I was trying to say. So, if you look at LeBron James, he most likely has change of views. But again, a lot of conservatives, and in this case Crowder, doesn't see that for some weird reason. Anyways, let's continue.
You gotta be accountable. Yes. Yeah. LeBron James. I'm so damn tired of seeing black people killed by police. I took the tweet down because it's being used to create more hate. Huh. This isn't about one officer, it's about the entire system, and they always use our words to create more racism. So they use your racially divisive words to create more racism. I am so desperate for more accountability. Well, yeah. Yeah, I think all of us are.
I think we all would like to see you not tweet out stuff like that. That either is a call to violence to a police officer who saved a black...
How is it a call to violence? You're next. Crowder, you do the same thing. Wait, did I miss? I guess I missed something. I'm not trying to make it too long. If I did miss something, I'll most likely see. Well, I don't want to keep apologizing, you know, but I don't think I missed anything. I don't think they really set the whole tweet yet, so we're gonna just play a little bit more and see. If they get to a new topic, I'll go back and just see, because
a black woman's life, by the way, or you're telling every other person out there, cops are going to shoot you next, time is running out.
Right. Either way,
Either one is good.
I mean, how's that? Wait a minute, I actually have a comment there with that thing of I just thought of. Thanks, me. I was 2 steps ahead in a sense of way. This is my comment. But wait, Crowder, LeBron James never said anything about violence. I mean, he didn't say peaceful either, but I mean... Oh wait, I'm sorry. You let Trump get away with inciting violence, but not LeBron James. Which, in this case, isn't really inciting violence. I mean, if we follow conservatives and Crowder's logic, what's wrong with LeBron James? If there's nothing wrong with Trump, so why LeBron James? I mean, really, why LeBron? Like, why? He didn't say violence. I mean, he didn't say peaceful either. But still, using your own logic, we shouldn't be against people who do. We shouldn't be against people who do violence because they never said they would do violence. They just said we're marching to the Capitol. Oh wait, you didn't want to because your logic is stupid. It is. I mean, it is kind of, you know, I'm just going to do it like this. Make it easier. It's not just looking like there. I'm just going to look a little bit down and just do that. But, yeah, like he didn't say, I mean, you know, now, to use logic, being honest, to use basic logic, you're next, or they're coming for you, could incite violence. Like, I don't want people to come for me. I would want to protect myself against them. But it's how you're saying it. If you're doing it against a particular people or race that's innocent, that's not really doing anything or doesn't do anything that'll be violent. Like, if I said watch out for criminals, then of course, protect yourself from criminals, but you shouldn't protect yourselves from cops. necessarily. I mean, there are bad cops you should be protected from. Wait, protected from? Protected against. I think I said that right. Pretty much protect yourself against bad cops. You should do that, but, I wouldn't say cops, they're coming for you. You're next. Be prepared, But, I think LeBron was pretty accountable. He took down the tweet that usually means, oh wait, I made a mistake. No, I don't think we should do that. So, yeah, he held himself accountable. Let's move on. He made a mistake, Let's learn not to do that. Crowder, but, he doesn't care because he's gonna say something later on. I don't think it's here. I think it's somewhere another video that either is A, taken down from YouTube, or B, not taken down from YouTube. But I mean, Crowder's against TOS, but he is back. I like him being back. I think he can be back. I think he can come to Christ before it's too late. But yeah, let's continue.
There really is a terrible Paul Blarty picture, though, that they found of him. Like, he looks like he'd accidentally shoot a lot of people, not just one color.
And then segue off a cliff.
Yeah, just...
We're gonna just stop. You look like you could trick him by painting a tunnel on a wall, and you go through it, and then he just segues in. Oh, shit.
He still doesn't hit the paint part, though.
Right next to it. I always miss.
So, yeah, we're talking about accountability, and this is the issue. It's not just hypocrisy. It's virtue signaling at the cost of innocent people. That's the issue that we have with LeBron James. What do I mean by that? Remember he refused to comment on the Hong Kong protest?
Yeah.
Right, this is the issue. He claimed that Rockets owner Daryl Morey, who tweeted support for the Hong Kong protest. So the whole NBA, because they're trying to get at the market of China, said, well, don't do anything with Hong Kong. These are people who, by the way, were largely, a lot of them, peacefully protesting because they actually want things like being able to, speak, read Bibles, things, and Daryl Morey tweeted support for the Hong Kong protest. Yeah. And then LeBron didn't just remain silent, which would be cowardly, but he's a basketball player, I repeat myself.
Was he against basketball play? Oh, I know why. Because they work for China, communist China that does a lot of bad things to religious people and I think minorities, which is true. That is all for me complicated because it's like you have to kind of work with some Chinese corporations, even though they might be communist or they might work for the communist Chinese, the CCG, the communist Chinese government, not the Chinese communists, because Chinese people are people too. It's just that they have a very bad radical communist like government, so I call it the communist Chinese government. It's communism in China, in the Chinese government. It's communism in the Chinese government. So the CCG, if I'm correct, it seems like for Crowder, basketball players, some of them, do stuff for the CCG, essentially as like it's okay. So I guess he's trying to say that they defend the CCG or the CGC, Communist Government of China. That doesn't make any sense. The Communist Chinese government, because they play in China and they have to do some things, even though China I would say Communist China does a lot of inhumane stuff to religious groups and people who are not them in general, which is true. They kind of work for them. It's like within business, I feel like sometimes you work with people who you discuss because basketball is a universal like sport. And China might sponsor the NBA's. Communist China might sponsor the NBA. Maybe not just China, but the CCG. and I think that should be addressed. And I think maybe they should get out of the CCG if they are. But I don't necessarily think they're like for everything that the CCG does, though. So it's complicated. I can't say they're defending them or they don't know what's actually going on. But let's continue.
Foul! Yeah, okay. Go play hockey for.
Yeah.
They go through the season and they don't even replace their teeth.
Yeah.
Because they know they're just gonna get knocked out again. He touched my wrist. I don't know what it means in basketball. He's a really physical player. No one is allowed to get physical.
Yeah.
What does that even
And
mean?
you kind of bang around.
What does that mean? Nobody's allowed to get physical? What do you mean? What do you mean? Basketball, when nobody gets physical. Okay, that makes sense. I actually have to comment on that. Crowder. This is not actually Crowder, quote-unquote Crowder. It's quote-unquote Crowder. He's a physical player, but no one's allowed in basketball to get physical. What does that mean? Me, Crowder, you understand that in basketball you can get physical. You're running, you're jumping, you're jumping, you're blocking, you're shielding. That's physical. What are you expecting? A punch or something? Like seriously, Crowder. Like seriously. Literally, like seriously. Are you like what? WWE and NBA? Like what do you consider physical? I mean, we could do the definition of physical. We could, we could do it, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do that. But it's kind of fun to do definitions. It shows how their logic might not be as sound. We'll leave it from there.
Around down in the paint, but there's a foul called.
There are more injuries in basketball than in other sports. Oh.
Yeah, because you can't really push people to the ground in basketball because that's not how the game works. But that doesn't mean it's not physical. Again, I guess Crowder does what like a WWB, World Wrestling Basketball or something. Okay. Don't know why you're against basketball, but like I don't know.
Well, yeah, because it's a sport.
Oh no,
So,
you shouldn't be against basketball. You should be against maybe the basketball corporations. I think he's against the basketball corporations, but it seems like he's against basketball. Why are you against it? I'm not gonna say because he's a racist. I don't really think he's really that racist. At least in this video, he's not racist, but or a racist, or a comedian that does racist jokes. Not here, kinda, not really. Oof. But yeah, I don't really think he's that much of a racist, But like, he's got some jokes that poke the racial bear there.
So, the Houston Rockets owner tweeted about the Hong Kong protest, and then LeBron James, not only being a coward silent, he spoke out against people who were supporting the Hong Kong.
I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand. So many people could have been harmed, not only financially, but physically, emotionally, spiritually.
What?
So just be careful what we tweet and we say. We do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that too.
Well, actually, the point is, they don't have freedom of speech.
So if I'm getting this right, from what I'm getting from Crowder of all people, but from what I'm getting, LeBron James was pretty much saying that this person doesn't know what he's talking about. He should learn more because it can harm people. So what was the guy's tweet? Was the guy's tweet like, support for Hong Kong, the Chinese government is wrong? Or was it the Chinese people are out to get ya or whatever? It depends. I know the tweet of the I don't know what LeBron James is talking about with the tweet of a person that he doesn't agree with of what he said maybe about China. If it was talking about Chinese people in a wrong way, then I can see that. But if it was talking about the Chinese government, the Communist Chinese government, the CCG, badly, and he was like support for Hong Kong, hashtag Hong Kong, freedom for Hong Kong or something. I wouldn't say I'm agreeing with Crowder, or I'm saying Crowder's doing something right, or I think from what Crowder's saying, I think he's correct. I just don't know. So in this case, I would have to give Crowder the benefit of the doubt, because I don't know all of the situation. Will I ever? Maybe, maybe not. But what Crowder's doing doesn't mean what Crowder's doing is right. Trying to get the right brightness so it doesn't look weird. And my papers are just, they're not really stapling. So everything's, it's not all over the place, but yeah, I think I'm good. Right. Just to tell you guys, the Wild with Crowder video is like an hour or in something minutes. Or an hour and 22 seconds.
That's kind of why they're protesting.
Yeah,
that's kind of why they need support. You're saying we have to reduce there are consequences. Well, hold on, you're silencing freedom of speech. You're talking about abuses of the system here in the United States. We're talking about by the way, this also ties into the World Health Organization, China, using technology, even Taiwan at all.
Yeah.
I mean, just let's be honest. When people want us to constantly fear Russia, which is something that people run with, this collusion, of course, none of that happened. China is not just...
Of course none of that happened. Okay. I think there was some form of collusion, but maybe not enough to overturn the election. Same thing with the election, not election fraud, but maybe some fraudulent ballots. But again, not enough to overturn the election. Because elections, you're gonna have some fraudulence, but not like fraud, like itself is a fraud. But anyways.
The biggest adversary of the United States right now, the biggest adversary of the free world and their own people. And I use the term Chi-Coms. You know why Chi-Coms? Because it's not racist. Because it's the Chinese Communist Party, and you know what? No one hurts the Chinese people more than the filthy damn Chi-Coms.
Yeah.
He's saying Chinese communist. Which, again, you know, I'm not like a word police. It's pronounced Chinese. It's pronounced communist China. Like, no. But I think it would reduce maybe the amount of hate crimes, maybe, if you say communist Chinese. Because it's communism that we hate, not Chinese people. We hate communists from China or communism in general, not Chinese people who are communists, because those are people who have bad ideologies, but they can change. But an ideology like communism doesn't really change. Ideologies don't really change. I mean, they have branches, and sometimes they do change through time, but something like communism, no, it's generally pretty much is socialism, but enforced. Socialism is not that bad, but when it's enforced, that is when it is communism, pretty much. But anyways, so let's continue.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. And I love how he led off there with not only financially, like, this is really all about money, guys, but hey, they can also be hurt. No, God, I have to list 5 ways now. Let's include spiritually, because that sounds,
you know.
it's like,
I don't think athletes should talk, and that includes Gerald.
yeah. Damn you, Dave. Amazing.
I'm kidding, I love you.
I love you.
You are the most well-spoken basketball player ever, though.
No, he's a football player. This is with CTE.
Didn't he play basketball too?
Oh,
I
yeah.
was assuming by height.
Yeah.
No,
Look at me assuming.
I'm relatively, short for basketball.
You could have been a Muggsy Bogues fan.
I could
Okay.
have been.
Yeah.
I could, no.
No.
You chose a different path.
No, I was Hotsy Bogues.
So was Muggsy, but he just still could, jump. And
Little bit of a
Jokes, everybody.
Hey, I actually used to try. I would say my name's White
Good
Lightning.
try.
I swear to God, when I played with my friends,
Yeah.
and then I would get really good for 3 minutes, and I was like, well, that was exhausting. Lightning strikes fast.
I'm gonna turn it down a
Time
little
to take another hit. Why you got a long pinky now? You don't know about this. You don't know about this.
Oh, gosh.
All right, hold on a second. What are they talking about right now on CNN before we go to Lizzo? Because I'm just trying to make sure that my stomach is prepared for it.
essentially what this does is that it's going to allow officers to talk to some of these investigators. It's going to open the books. They're going to be able to come into DOJ and look at all of their records
Great,
and
yeah, because
information.
the DOJ is unbiased. Hey, can we talk about the gross disproportional representation on CNN? I mean, it's 2%. 2% of population Earth is gay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see where I'm going here, folks?
Oh no.
78% of CNN.
Oh no.
Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon,
Oh, no.
that guy, Brian Stelter. And let me just say this about people say, are you
Like
weaponized? No.
why do you even recognize that? Why is that matter? Oh no. I got 2 comments for you. Oh gosh.
Because the left is so quick to weaponize sexuality, like they'll say, you're gay, I'm gay. Like, oh, secretly they're gay. Brian Stelter, people got mad at me. In no realm would I even assume the possibility that he was anything other than gay. I mean, it actually, for quantum physics and all this, for every way the world could be, there's a world which is that way, the idea. He dispels the notion of parallel universes because there is no parallel universe that I can picture out of the countless, the trillions, the zillions, the number more than the stars, in which Brian Stelter wants anything other than a man's butt. I would sooner believe in a world created of nothing but scrap metal with Wall-E as our god king than I would a world...
Trump as your god king, because you already live in that reality, but continue.
for a universe in which Brian Stelter is straight. But I can't verify that.
Does that matter?
It's an unverified claim. All right, speaking of horrible things...
Horrible things, Crowder. Oh gosh, I got 2 comments for you, brother. The first one, Crowder. Hey, guys, I'm not against gay people. Okay, I'm not against gay people. Okay. I'm just saying. CNN's got a lot of gay people. Sorry. I'm sorry. Wrong accent. You know, CNN's got a lot of gay people, Am I right? Oh, God. It's bad. It's not even what I'm trying to interpret. Oh gosh, no, again, not trying to mock Crowder, I was just trying to get the right accent. Okay. Me. Well, Fox News got a lot of straight people. What's your point? Michael Mills got a lot of super straight people. What's your point? I mean, see how stupid that sounds? Like, hey, guys, do you know Fox News has got oh, heck. Okay, I can do this. Guys, did you know that? Don't you know that Fox News has got 99% of straight people? I know, shocking. There's no universe where I would see Fox News being gay. Speaking of white privilege, like, you see how it's like it doesn't, like, I mean, Crowder is a homophobe, like, he doesn't like gay people, because the gays and the lesbians and the left and the Marxists say offensive gay jokes are bad, because they offend gay people. Logic, Crowder, but Crowder's just like, no, why? I wanna say it, No. I'm talking about the F slur. That's a whole other thing. And my second comment is this. Oh, you're saying because CNN's bad and being gay is bad, so you're pretty much being homophobic, but actually not, because it's a joke, as in this case, you're virtual signaling, which you are doing, Crowder, and it is kind of obvious. It is. This is kind of an obvious, episode. It's obvious that Crowder's trying to do something here, and yeah, it's kind of obvious. Things are very obvious, but for Crowder, I guess they aren't. Hopefully you guys know the obvious, And being obvious is not a social construct necessarily. Being obvious means like it's obvious.
Lizzo, this is fun, and then we're gonna get to the Mackay Bryant.
You don't care.
Yeah, Pfeiffer.
Oh, no.
This
You
is
don't
one. Pfeiffer goes
care.
west. This is one of those. This is one of those stories that it's not an indictment on the cops. It's not an indictment on really the people of color community. It's an indictment on the media for not doing any due diligence at all. And we're gonna get to that in a second. But first, a palate cleanse. I mean, I guess at all. And we're gonna get to that in a second. But first, a palate cleanse. I mean, I guess like if you were to just take the dirt from the tar sands, it's a palate cleanser technically. It's different from the appetizer to the main course in the way that this Lizzo story is. I'm just trying to avoid getting down the story. No, I know we have some clips coming in. Oh God. So Lizzo joined Dove's self-esteem project, and she did a video. Sorry.
Yeah, right there, it is pretty funny. You just stop there. She has a lot of self-esteem.
I haven't seen this yet, so that was funny.
I know, right?
Also, no one appreciates the iron.
There is either doing this is because she's fat, and I have a whole comment on that one. It just makes more sense, and it almost got me to be a believer of a certain phobia that I don't believe that exists. But man, Crowder, Exhibit A, gotta talk about that.
It's the irony that Dove is like, it's okay, whatever your body shape is, so long as you have perfect skin.
No, Steven, they use more soap. They have more surface
Yeah,
area to clean.
yeah.
Target market.
And a lot of rolls.
They also do use like liquid that looks like they're just pouring milk, and she's probably like, yeah, I could eat that.
No,
She has to put it into the end of that extension that you use to throw balls for the dog when you play. Just lob it in the crevice. Here she is on Zoom talking about how she is working with this project to dispel unrealistic beauty standards. And then you understand why this is basically...
What is
this
beauty? Please define me that. Continue.
labeled as harmful medical advice here on YouTube, especially in relation to COVID. But let's start with Lizzo.
I remember waking up and wanting to be someone else, change my body, change my eye color, my hair texture. I didn't have filters. It scares me to think that now there is a tool that actually cashes in on that insecurity.
Why do you call her a cow? Oh my gosh. Cara just does not like fat people. Okay. I mean, I'm not saying Trump was fat, but like, I guess he passed. I guess he passed the fat line. I'm sorry for saying fat, overweight line. That wasn't a joke, being honest. Overweight line. Crowder would say fat, because he doesn't like overweight people. But I'm gonna say overweight because that makes more sense, because it just makes more sense. People are overweight, not necessarily fat. I find that there is an actual difference. I think actually in the dictionary there is an actual difference between overweight and fat. For me, overweight means you're overweight. The weight that you should be is your weight is over the limit of the weight that you should have, which most people have, which means it's overweight. Fat, I think, is more of a physical mean, like our skin, like our muscles are fats, are of fats, pretty much. I think, well, we're gonna do a little bit of a detour, because I never really got to this definition. It was for the last episode about justice in the biblical way. Well, the biblical reference to the word justice means to make right. Justice is first and foremost a rational term. People living in right relationship with God, one another, and the national creation, as God is just and loving, so we are called to do justice and live in love. Pretty much, I think there's a better biblical Christian version of justice. It's what's right, it's what's good, what God says is good and just, the justice of God, and all other things. But again, sorry, the detour is over. I'm just gonna hold up probably right back. And there are two definitions. There are, I think that, yes, it's, here, according to dictionaries, and the dictionary of Google Dictionary, I think it's just the dictionary, dictionary, just say that a little wrong. But anyways, fat, a natural oily or greasy substance concerning animals animal bodies, especially when deposited as a layer under the skin or organs. Yeah, then there's the adjective and the verb, and the definition of overweight is above a weight considered normal or desirable. Having more investment in a particular area than in normal desirable. Then there's the noun, verb, all that. And yeah, there is a difference. Which it makes sense, because according to dictionary and just in general, I guess society, fat would most likely, for most people, would be animal skins and stuff like that. But if you're talking about a person, you usually say overweight because we're beings where everything has weight, but it's a nicer and actually more correct way of saying how people are, and they're overweight. They're not fat, they're overweight. It just makes more sense. It is more detailed. But if somebody says fat or fat people, if it doesn't seem like what Crowder's doing, then they're like, fat people because they were just, they were raised in that way to just say that and not weight, then that's okay. I would say, maybe it'd be best to say overweight if I have the right time. Because you see, life is not just facts, it's a lot more. Living is a lot more. It's life, But, that doesn't mean you can't put some factual things in life. You can't. That's what you do. That's what statistics is for. But, again, for Crowder, he just doesn't like overweight people for some weird reason. I was taught better. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Crowder wasn't taught to respect people, but, come on. I'm gonna let you guys hear that again. Come on. More respect, man.
Here on YouTube, especially in relation to COVID. But let's start with
I remember waking up and wanting to be someone else, change my body, change my eye color, my hair texture. I didn't have filters. It scares me to think that now there is a tool that actually cashes in on that insecurity. It scares me to think that now there is a tool that actually cashes in on that insecurity.
we're children.
You're right. You're not professionals. You're not even good comedians. You're not adults. You're children. Thank you. This was a waste of time. Goodbye, everybody. No, I'm just kidding, guys, because, we more mature people have to analyze what children do. As mature, even looking back in my immature stage. Yeah, I remember the days I was yelling and being like, well, it's the truth. It was bad. Especially with questions. I just feel like, so you're saying this, so you're saying God's Hitler. It was bad. But, as I grow to be mature, you might take childish things away, be a more mature Christian, a more mature person. Not saying Crowder's a baby, but he said himself, they are kind of childish. I can agree. you are being childish. But not just that, you're adults, so grow up, you know? You know? I'm not even an adult. Even I know I'm not like, moo, fat girl cow. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not more respectable. But again, Crowder hates overweight people for some weird reason.
Really are
That's
immature.
a cut to me laughing.
Cringe.
As much as you can today, cut to the Glendale left.
Just me.
So, also during the Zoom
I look
call,
fat today too. I feel like I'm throwing stones.
you're wearing white with horizontal
I know,
stripes.
and with red. Proud about it. And I got ready cheeks.
Was the Beetlejuice suit not available?
It was. Made a choice.
I passed. Gotta make better
I'm gonna look at maybe I lean up like the. Oh,
There you go. Hey, Doug, if you're looking for a new spokesperson for your self-esteem project, you got yourself a Landau.
Hello.
You got him on the hook.
Lizzo.
So during the Zoom call, Lizzo also said, "I have nothing to hide."
Oh,
Agree to
Where are
disagree.
you gonna hide?
Yeah, you can't. There's
Not a
no
tree
shame
big enough.
anymore. I just post myself. It's like you.
No, when he said where you gonna hide, you know, it sounded a little bit funny, but not funny in a way that I agree. You know, sometimes, you know, humor, even terrible humor, sometimes you kind of laugh. Either you're laughing at them or with them. Like Disney, I usually laugh at them. Now I'm laughing with them a little bit more, you know. For people who, you know, Disney Channel, not just Disney, but like Disney Channel, you know, and Disney XD. But like, I don't know, just how he said where you're gonna hide. I'm like, like it was a little bit funny, but like I don't agree with the joke, you know. You know, but you know, you know. It slipped. It honestly did slip, but you know, let's continue.
You take me as I am. You don't have to love me. She also posted this nude selfie to Instagram to celebrate a new partner. Here we go. It's the Taurus season.
For now, when I'm saying this, I'm not saying I actually like looked at it, you know, but you know, like, you know, glimpse, you know. Because if you're gonna say she did that, I'm not like, ooh, no, I'm a Christian, no. But gentleman, no. But she was wearing stuff that was kind of very skin-like. Pretty much not this, definitely not this, you know. But I don't think, well, from what I remember, I don't think it was really like a naked post, but still, it's overweight or very skinny or metal, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. But I also say something about that as well. But like, you know, where she was, there was a lot of adults there. You know, but again, something like that, I wouldn't no. Now I'm against that, but I'm not against it because she's overweight. I'm against it because it's wrong. Like it's for me, it's in I wouldn't say kind of indecent. Just awkward and very inappropriate. But like, you know, it's for adults. They can do that, but I don't think it's right. But they can do that. You know, free country.
And now I want to give kids fair warning here because we're going to explain this does matter as it relates to health, the Fat Pride movement, and particularly if we're talking about COVID.
Yeah.
But first, over kids, parents, we always say like this isn't this. It's not a trigger warning. I just know if you have kids that we're about to get into some inappropriate territory. I would 5, 4, 3. Fair warning if you're still here, you're a bad parent. She's a long history of this kind of stuff. Here's just some examples from Lizzo's TikTok.
Now, of course, I'm not actually looking at it. I'm just listening to it. I'm, you know, making sure it doesn't, the phone doesn't like sleep on me. You know.
I'm so fucking sick and tired of the Photoshop. Show me something natural and apple wrong with your pride.
I'm hoping that it's one of the, like fashion where it's cyclical, like now bell bottoms are coming back. That Photoshop makes a resurgence. That's maybe even MS Paint. I don't care.
We'll take what we can get.
Take anything we can get.
Trust me, back in my day,
30 beers, I'd be able to. 30? That's an
Andre the Giant.
30 Belgian Trappist ales, probably.
Who am I kidding? 30 O'Douls, you know what I'm saying? All right.
Cheers are up like the St. Pauli.
I can handle this.
So look, here's why this
From
matters.
behind her.
We got no, it's fine. We got fact checked for saying, hey, the COVID-19 is obviously a real virus.
Right.
It's significantly more deadly to old people, significantly less deadly than the flu to young people. So now this matters because you
It matters, but people still got sometimes wear during this time, people still needed to wear masks. Yes, we know by now, if I'm correct, kids can't really get it, but if they do get it, they can spread, or they won't have that much effect because of their immune system, but they can spread it. It's a plain simple thing. How do you stop that? Oh wait, guys, I know what it is. Guys, this is incredible, guys. Very incredible for the conservatives. Very incredible for some conservatives. Wear a mask and do the right thing. Do the right thing, you know? I thought the conservatives were for conserving the right things, you know? Protecting others and yourselves, you know? But, I guess when Trump came along and he said, I don't really care about masks, kinda, who needs them? They're like, well, Trump said it, you know? Oh, gosh.
because you can look at the inflammatory reaction, the immune response, and maybe that'll help us determine what treatment options along with vaccines. But that was removed. Okay, that.
Oh, I'm sorry it was removed.
So you can find it on Mug Club because it's not
Like,
allowed.
you know, I'm not like sadistic or anything, you know. I'm not like, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. No, but I thought that was a good joke, but no, a little bit dark. Sorry about that. But Crowder, if you're doing stuff that seems to be wrong, I'm not surprised that YouTube kind of stepped in, you know. But again, you're against TOS. TOS is not your friend, and you're not a friend to TOS. So it's like, but I guess Crowder won his case or whatever. He's back on YouTube doing crazy whatever. I don't know. Who knows? You know. Anyways.
But it's not allowed on YouTube. Now here is something that is irrefutable, undeniable, and this is where kind of like when you have leftist social justice warriors who
Undeniable and wait, refutable or unrefutable, undeniable. You know, signs change, right? But I guess Crowder might be like Michael Knowles, you know. March! Like, yeah, March 2020, get with the times, man. You know what I mean?
want women's rights, LGBTQAIP, but then they also have to support Islam, and it's like, oh, that's uncomfortable. Just don't all get in a conference room at the Hyatt Ballroom B. Let's just make sure you keep it all.
Why? Like, why the gays? I mean, what do you say, ISIS? I gotta go back. I know, but I gotta go back.
Women's rights, LGBTQAIP, but then they all, because it's not allowed on YouTube. Now, here is something that is a response, and maybe that'll is obviously a real virus.
Right.
It's significantly more deadly to old people, significantly less deadly than the flu to young people.
From
now,
March
this
of
matters because you can look at the
1984.
inflammatory reaction, the immune response, and maybe that'll help us determine what treatment options along with vaccines. But that was removed. Okay, that whole episode, you can find it on Mug Club because it's not allowed on YouTube. Now, here is something that is irrefutable, undeniable, and this is where kind of like when you have leftist social justice warriors who, right, they want women's rights, LGBTQAIP, but then they also have to support Islam, and it's like, oh, that's uncomfortable. Just don't all get in a conference.
Islam. Oh no. Which one? Because there's kind of depending on the Muslim, there's like different denominations of the sensible way of Islam. Islam is not inherently bad. I know. Strong truth here. I know it might be hard, but Islam isn't just about violence. And also, sorry. And also, guys, Islam isn't just about ISIS. You know? But like, I'm not saying Muhammad's just like Jesus Christ, but like, Muhammad isn't Hitler either. Like, there's more to it than the Quran and a lot of other things. Not saying that it doesn't have some shady scripture. Maybe not. I need to look it up more. You know, but like, you know, don't throw the baby out. Don't throw the whole baby out of the bathwater. Did I say that right? I should know that. Don't throw the baby with the bathwater. Pretty much, don't put everything under something if one thing is wrong in that thing. Pretty much.
In the conference room at the Hyatt Ballroom B. Let's just make sure you keep it all separate so that you can live in this world that is completely inconsistent. COVID-19.
Like you? Well, no, Crowder's pretty consistent. For bad reasons, you know. But no, he wasn't saying undeniable, unrefutable for the child and old and overweight people getting COVID thing. He was talking about what he's talking about now. So, sorry for the clarification there. I didn't get it, but now I do.
88% of deaths came from countries with over 50% obesity rates. B. Let's just make sure you keep it all separate so that you can live in this world that is completely inconsistent. COVID-19, 88% of deaths came from countries with over 50% obesity.
And, I mean, yeah, obesity is bad. You don't want to be obese if you love your body. You know, if you want to take care of yourself and others, you shouldn't be as overweight. But, like, I'm not going to demonize you or make fun of you accordingly. Cow! No. I'm going to be like, hey, maybe you should lose some weight because of X, Y, and Z. And, like, what you're saying fat people cause COVID or something? Like, what were you getting here? Why do you hate overweight people? What is the point, Crowder?
Obesity rates, okay? Now that's pretty general, so well, let's get into that. That just means countries where people are fat. Guilty, the United States. It's a problem of overabundance, okay? Don't talk to me about food deserts because we have the internet now. New study from Diabetes Care found that 34.8% of COVID patients were overweight, and then even more were obese. So 78% of severely hospitalized patients were overweight or obese. According to the CDC, you can't remove this. 78% were overweight or obese. There is a...
Again, your point. Why do you hate them? Maybe you should say, hey, don't be so overweight, not, haha, cow, gay people, am I right? Like, what? No, like, no, like, no.
There is a direct correlation with COVID-19.
There's a direct, I don't know if there's a direct correlation with COVID-19 if you're overweight. I sometimes have to remember, don't say fat, overweight, because I'm supposed to be more of an expert on things, and I'm a content creator. I create content, but my main objective is to lead people to Christ. But also, you know, I gotta be a little bit more, I wouldn't say I'm better than the people, you know, the viewers, the people who subscribe to me, who follow me. I'm not better than you know? But you might come to me for an opinion that you agree with or for coming to Christ. And I have to be a little bit more professional. Because that's like all content creators should be, is a little bit more professional than the people who watch them. Sometimes, you know? And that doesn't make sense because I'm, you know, making the content that should be more professional, you know, generally. I gotta live a more professional life than maybe most normal people, which is okay. Being normal is okay, but since I am doing this, I have to be more professional. The problem with Crowder is that he's not being professional, he's just being an idiot. You know? But he should still come to Christ.
And your immunity, your ability to fight off the virus, your likelihood, the mortality rate with you being overweight. But that you can't juxtapose that with fat pride right now. This is the thing that really bothers. If you want to end vaccine hesitancy with people, okay, government, what you need to do is make sure that people understand that's not the only option that they can take. Doesn't mean it's not an option that they can take to improve their likelihood of decent outcomes, of being even asymptomatic or not contracting the virus. I'm not saying that vitamin D is a cure. I'm not saying intravenous vitamin, none of that stuff. But I am saying that, hey, look, how often have you heard people in the media talking about diet, exercise, and immune response? How many?
Pretty good amount, maybe not that much because they have other segments, because they are a company and, you know, money, corporatism in a lot of cases, the extreme version of capitalism, but when people think that people are pennies, you know?
Times have you heard the media talk about these are ways that you can keep yourself healthier overall? Now, we don't have the
I mean, we have. I have. I watched nightly news of Lester Holt, and they have. They really have been tackling with mental health. You know, I think they've done a little bit more better than CNN, being honest with all things. So, yeah, Crowder, try again. You know, maybe actually, look up, watch some segments of news media if you're gonna talk about, hey, how much does any of these news media do, X, Y, and Z. They don't. And I'm like, well, they do, especially with mental health. I do watch one, because of time, and I also look up other things. I don't just go to NBC, Nightly News and Lester Holt for all my news. But, I'm like, okay, what's generally going on, maybe I can look that up more, that's a pretty good segment, Yeah, you could have done better, but, one of them really roasted Trump. I liked her. She was based, especially with the, what was it? The town hall. I think you guys know what I mean. That was, man, I forgot her name. That woman really just did it. I'm like, man, she is not letting Trump go away. Like, she is, based. But, doesn't mean I agree with everything she might believe in, but like, man, that was like, wow, did not see that coming. But anyways,
we don't have a clinical study, so we can't say guaranteed it'll stop COVID-19, but we do have more clinical data than you could read in your lifetime that correlates obesity, diet, supplementation. Certain vitamin D is important as far as levels in your blood if you're deficient, and your ability to fight off viruses of any kind. But you don't hear that. Well, so that's pseudoscience.
Right, and that's the whole reason that we talk about stuff like this. We're not just going to make fun of somebody for being large. We're saying, look, this person...
But that's what you just did. That's what you just did. Why do you make fun of them? You just say, okay, we get what she's saying, but maybe you shouldn't be as overweight. But I get it. Crowder's a comedian, and he did say they were kind of, childish. So, but this doesn't mean I can't treat him like an adult, which I am. Because he is an adult. So man up, mature up, okay?
Person's going out there, they're doing a campaign and saying, I'm happy with me just the way I am. You shouldn't be.
I mean, if they are, then, should they not be? Who are you to tell them what they can and cannot do? I would do suggestions, but if they don't want to, that's a lot better. Okay, that's a lot better. Sorry. More lighting, if you please. I think I can turn it down. Hold on. Okay, I think that's a lot better. For what, I work for what I got, and I pray, and I thank God for more equipment in Jesus' name. Amen. So, get more better movement, But, what was I gonna say? Well, if you were not just going to just be like, we're not making fun of people, we're just making fun of people, and then tell you why we're making fun of them, why we hate overweight people, or why we're so triggered, because we're comedian, but like, if you're gonna do that, maybe not actually make fun of them, maybe be like, we watched this clip, and we're going to show you it, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z, and why, maybe you shouldn't be so comfortable being this weight, because it might be unhealthy. It might get you killed. It might you might have a more better chance to get COVID, X, Y, and Z. That's how you do that. You don't be like, haha, cow, and like, hey, listen, let's be serious here. Obesity is wrong. Cow, like, what? Like, I get it, you're a comedian. That's why some comedians shouldn't be, talking about political things. Exhibit A, B, C, and all the way to Z. Crowder.
And nobody else that's that big should be, because it's unhealthy, because you won't be here as long. I want you to live a longer, healthier, happier life. And we've known this forever. And now we're telling doctors...
Then don't be like, cowgirl, no. Then they might actually listen to you and a lot of other things, and don't be against women and lesbians, and just be a better person in general. They might actually listen to you.
Somebody big comes in your room, you can't say, hey, you really need to lose some weight. Right, because that's offensive to some... Well, not only...
What? No. What? I mean, doctors might say, hey, you think you're overweight? And they're like, no, I think I'm pretty good. Okay. I don't think any doctor was like, I'm sorry, I can't say you're overweight. No, I think a doctor can say you're overweight. They might say a little bit more nicer, like, you think you're comfortable with your weight. It just depends on the doctor, If a doctor's like, no, fat, lose some weight, cow, that person should be suspended. Or maybe if that doctor has a track record of making fun of overweight people the way that they do, they should maybe be fired. I'm not saying anybody should be fired. I'm just saying, if conduct like that is, if they're not accountable for it, they shouldn't be working within that job of that profession. They shouldn't be in that professional job, because if they're gonna be like, you're fat. No, a doctor shouldn't do that, and maybe they should be suspended, if not fired. But again, not calling for any firing, but I'm just saying, generally, I think that's general, remembrance that people should have,
Not only that, but you have big tech, and you have...
Just like not everybody is for the fivefold ministries. Not everybody is going to be in the fivefold ministries. Not everybody's going to be a minister, because they might not be able to handle it, or they don't have the spiritual and mental maturity of being a minister, or being in the fivefold ministry.
Attacking your big media, silencing people who say, you know what, actually, there are treatment options available, and health and diet actually might help you from... There's no science behind that.
When is this a thing? When does anybody say this? I think he's just saying stuff that I don't think really actually happens.
Dr. Fauci, then they trot someone out who says being big is healthy and beautiful. No, it's not. Statistically, occasionally there are outliers. You'll have a Fedor Emelianenko who was kind of pudgy, looked like a relatively strong uncle, beat the hell out of heavyweights. Yeah. Every now and then you have an outlier. There is an absolute correlation and a causal relationship between being overweight and all-cause mortality and
I don't think it's subjective, because stuff like that is subjective depending on the population. Crowder, do you not understand how statistics work? Again, March of 2020, again, even March of 2021, that's kind of old. Move on, please.
And certainly COVID-19. It's more dangerous for us to say, hey, you know what? Zinc, vitamin D, eat right, try and lose some weight, don't smoke. All these things that we can say, they'll say you can't say that because it's not verified. But we fact.
Crowder, you smoke. Wait. Crowder. Oh wait, no, he drinks coffee now, if I'm correct. Well, he used to smoke. I don't know if he still smokes, but if he does, hypocrite. But I don't think he does anymore. So he does tea or coffee. Good for him. Quit the smoke. I'm glad that Crowder quit smoking. If he did, pray that he will. If he did, in Jesus' name,
amen. Fact check. Is there a fact check? Is there a fact check on the Fact Pride video saying you can be just as healthy? It's not true. Again, we cannot.
Well, fat people can be healthy, you know, and they do store up more food. So if they're in a survival situation, there's more of a chance that there's more of a chance that the overweight person. I should just have the word overweight, like, oh, overweight. Gotta remember because I'm hearing fat, you know, but anyways, or OW, but I might not remember that overweight OW. The overweight person most likely will be able to survive because they store food more. They just have a more bigger container, I guess you can say, of food and other things. But again, being overweight is still not good. Even though you might have a chance to survive in the wilderness more, maybe, but still, you try to be as fit as you can so you can get out of that wilderness and not be so tired, like most overweight people are, because of the weight that they are carrying. It's overbearing. It's not really in the normal, like, line of people. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna say, haha, cow, or that's unnatural, you know, or something like that. No, I'm gonna be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be as overweight, you know, maybe lose some pounds, at least 10, you know? Just say, you know, as a friend, or as just a helpful gentleman, helpful Christian, helpful person in general. But Crowder doesn't want to do that?
The reason we can't find common ground right now, I think you hear people lament this a lot. They go, well, we need to find common ground. You can't find common.
Oh, I guess this is a pretty, because I think he's getting to another thing, another segment of another thing. My comment with the whole overweight thing is this. So Crowder is being triggered because of an overweight person in doing something adult rated on TikTok. I mean, TikTok has a lot of adult rated stuff. Kind of does. The point for Crowder is that the person's overweight, aka Crowder doesn't like fat people. Unless, if they agree with him. Now, being overweight is not good for your health, but we don't hate or bully people, we help people. But man, Crowder, you almost made me think that fat phobia is a thing. Like, being honest, how he was doing it, how he just didn't like overweight people, is like, are you being fat phobic? Like, I never thought fat phobia was a thing, but like, Crowder almost made me a believer in that phobia. I don't think fat phobia is real, really. Like, he almost made me thought that it was.
Common ground on a line. It's not possible. It's not possible.
True. We can't really find that much common ground if you think that there was actually election fraud. You're right. It's based on a lie, man. Well, I think we can still find some common ground, but don't know.
Possible to do. 78% of severely hospitalized patients, overweight or obese. And then you say, find common ground in acknowledging that all sizes are healthy. No! And that's not because you have a D next to your name. It's because you're not telling the truth.
Yeah. Well, in this whole line, if it could save one life, right? All the things that we've been asked to do is to save one life. I have a way to save at least one life. Just tell people being fat is not healthy. Just tell them that that's science.
You
We've
son
done
of a
that
bitch.
forever. Come on. But
It
you're
just
doing it in a
makes
way that's
common
loving.
sense.
Like, tell them, like, hey, guys, I love you. I don't want you to die early. You're really fat.
Well, that doesn't see that.
You know, you're really fat. Cow, moo. Like, really? You joked about it, and now you're like, guys, we gotta really make sure that how we say it is good. Then why do the moo and the how when she's talking? That is confusing. Are you for or against overweight people? Make up your mind, please. For the good of everybody, please. Okay, we got a few left, and I might need to skip a little. So, let's see.
Don't sell any more Dove bars. I mean, the soap bars.
Well,
It
my-
certainly sells a lot of Dove chocolate ice cream bars, but you know what? Those things, come on. They're calorie laden, they're tasty, they're unhealthy, they practically sell themselves.
If that's not the same company, what am I eating in the shower?
That's a different bar. It's like, where's the chocolatey center, damn it?
Well, I keep trying.
Well, you know.
No, my Uncle Phil was actually hospitalized, but my Aunt Viv got mad, so I was sneaking in the newspapers.
What did your butler say?
Jeffrey?
Yeah.
He's English, I don't know.
You know what? That being said, in that 26 time spent, we all learned a lot about ourselves.
We did. We really did. And also about that shot, because Carlton.
Yeah, that's true. It's a problem. There are kids right now going, what? What? No, there used to be a time in this country where actually the biggest shows on television were black families. They were watched by white people. They weren't sequestered to TBS with another Tyler Perry offshoot. Boop. Okay? That's not how it works. So I know it's a little foreign to you. We all watch the same stuff.
When people would boo Carl Winslow when he walked in, he always had a smoking gun. Oh, got another one.
Yeah, these are some of the myths that were that have been debunked here. And I want to ask you, when do you think media loses all of its legitimacy? I'm really happy to watch mainstream media die, and I'm happy that it's happening slowly because I'm glad to watch it suffer.
I agree.
Yeah, this is fun. It's fun watching Brian Stelter every.
It's fun. It's fun to not have different opinions and views, even though they might be lying. But even then, that's why we have fact checkers. But no, I just want media to just die out, I like how it's suffering slowly. Imagine if I said that for conservative media. I would be wrong. I don't want it to die. I want it to be reformed with better facts, with maybe more conservative leaning, but just facts, not just lies and propaganda. I want that to die, but not the whole conservative media, because that would be wrong. I just don't want one view. I want multiple views of truth within political opinions. That's what the news should be. You talk about the news, then you commentate about it and see what you think about it based on other things and based on your political opinion. We really don't have that much anymore. We do have some of it, but most of it is news and then having opinion within it instead of making it kind of separate. You kind of make it together a little bit, depending on what you watch. For me, Nightly News with Lester Holt doesn't really do that much. I think they do talk about the news, and they just talk about the news, pretty much. They do have some opinions on it, or how they word it. It might not be true, but a lot of times I think it is true. It's pretty good, and there's always a good segment, a good last segment after that news show's done. I really like that, but with conservatives, it's more of fight back rather than inspiring this, hope. With conservative media, it's more so fight back because the libs or something. But again, I don't want the whole conservative media to die. I just want the propaganda to die. Same thing with social media and mainstream media. I want the propaganda and the lies to just go away and die, but not all of it, not the whole thing. Because even though Fox News and CNN might not be the best, I think they both should be on the air. But Crowder doesn't like that for some reason, but yeah, he's for freedom of the press. Okay, sure.
For every Sunday, we have to get rid of alternative shows on Facebook.
Remember, it starts with an H and ends with a Y. That's what some conservatives, especially Crowder, is doing right now.
Twitter, it's the plague of America. Don't ask how I got this job. Super straight. Every single week, they're on there saying that people like us need to be removed, that we're the greatest threat to
Super straight is Fox News.
Right. Our They say democracy, but constitutional republic. They don't know that.
Yeah, it's not a constitutional republic. It's a republic democracy. We, the people, through democratic process, elect officials in a republic-like way. I can really do definitions here, but it might be too long. I'm trying to do 2 hours. If I do, then okay. If not, then okay. I'm not trying to do 3. So we gotta continue.
So they went with these claims with Columbus, which happened yesterday, and a lot of you believed these. And when we reported this yesterday, we even had to say, hey, look, people are reporting that she called the cops. Micaiah. I forget the name. I don't know. Pam.
I don't care.
They are reporting that her aunt claimed. We were very clear on that because we said we didn't know, but we did have the body cam footage, which was the most concrete evidence. NPR and Daily Beast and CNN didn't do that. That's the issue here is there's a lie or misinformation that goes out, and I would say it's a lie if you don't check your sources because you simply want to push a story that perpetuates a narrative. I would say that's a lie because you have all these tools at your disposal.
That's what you're doing. There are always going to be narratives. Don't let it be like endangering or propaganda. You have a narrative. It's the news. It's a company. Like, they have narratives, but just let those narratives be good, because there's something called good and bad narratives. But anyways.
Disposal to double check your sources and then not follow up with the truth. So let's go through a couple of claims here. One of them was that Micaiah was defending herself.
You don't do that.
Right? This is defending herself against other girls who were abusing her. That's one of the claims that went out.
The other girl did have a small dog.
Yes.
Very scary
They
dog.
are terrible.
Yes,
And God only knows what she was hiding in those skin-tight pink sweatpants.
That's true.
Anything. She could have a Glock. Yeah, juicy. I don't. By the way, if you're a parent who lets your daughter walk around with juicy written across the ass,
It'd be great if one of us got up and just had juicy on our ass.
Are you talking about this one?
Oh. Excuse me? Mother bought me these.
She blames a lot.
she told me the Met would respect it.
They don't.
So the claim was that she was protecting herself, right? And this was reported everywhere. Well, I think you already know that this one is false because there was more body cam footage.
It wasn't reported everywhere. But, okay, continue. Wrong and lies. Again.
And the girl in the pink jumpsuit, you may not have seen this clip though, was talking with the police officers. Again, saying she came after me with a knife, she was coming after me with a... Here you go, here's the clip.
She came out with you with a knife earlier?
No, she just, that's what the police did. She came after me.
With a knife?
Yeah, so he got her. Can you please get my phone and stuff?
Have a seat for me. Have a seat for me. Yes, we'll get it. We'll get everything.
Please, sir.
Hey, she doesn't seem to hate that cop.
No.
But I see some melanin there on screen. Could it be that he prevented her from being shanked?
I thought she was getting stabbed. She was very close?
Yeah, no, that's why it was what I call some good shooting.
Wow, that's...
Well, but mid-stab...
Again, good shooting. Should be required to just shoot people.
That was in the swing. Yeah, it was in the swing.
Wow, that's... Well,
I think it was like
obviously we
this.
should have gone for the
If I'm
legs.
correct,
I
it
think
was
that's
actually
an
like this.
important thing they're bringing up because everybody is a movie.
Shot her finger trigger.
Not everybody can have Lizzo legs that you can hit easily. That's
Yeah,
exactly.
true.
Right. So if you can shoot good, you might be able to have the speed, or at least the ability to move in a fast way to tackle. So this was the other girl, the 16-year-old girl, or something like that. And this is a knife or whatever. If I'm correct, it was like this, bang, bang, bang. Something like that. What the police officer could have done was tackle, boom, that. But I was not in that situation, so I wouldn't know what to do. Because I was in that situation. But I think if you're capable of really shooting, really aiming for a deadly point to shoot at the 16-year-old girl, maybe you have the chance or the ability to have the reflexes to maybe not shoot, but to tackle. They are different, and it was like the police officer and the gun was like this. He was like, what he could have done was, but again, I'm not in that situation, so I went, I don't know what was going through his head. I think what was going through his head is that I gotta protect her, I gotta have a gun, bang, bang. But why did you have to shoot the 16-year-old girl in a way that would kill her? But again, it was a very hostile like situation, if I'm getting that right. It was a very fast, quick situation, so you know, I'm not like, how dare you, but like, if you're able to be in a speed to where you can shoot in a way that you did, maybe if you have some more better training, you might have been able to tackle her. But again, I wasn't in that situation, so I can't just say that like it's like duh. I'm not in that situation. I don't want to be in that situation. In Jesus' name, amen. So,
It's usually a smaller target.
I'm not exploiting it to make a police statement like Crowder,
This is also, look, you also have to go through this logically. Use the power of deduction. Let's rationalize this here. When they say, hold on a second, Micaiah was protecting herself with the knife. Now, we don't have all of the verification here. Some of these claims we can show are irrefutable. We know that they're 100% false. But you have to go through it logically. Hold on a second, I remember that footage. Wait, they were attacking her with a knife? But she was coming out of the house and she was lunging at them. And by the way, a knife is not a defensive weapon. When people say, I carry a knife to defend myself, you're an idiot. A knife is an assassination tool, or it's a tool to, open your Amazon boxes, whatever it is. Do some whittling. A knife is not a defensive weapon, and she was...
And I have a comment for that, because that is legitimately stupid. Anyways, my comment with that one is that a knife is a subjective tool or weapon. I have a pocket knife as a tool. Some have pocket knives for protection or collection, as in a weapon, especially for people in warfare, like people in the army that have knives. Because there's different types of knives, Crowder. Look at this logically. Let's have to look at this logically and reason here, okay? Obviously. Thank you, phone. Obviously. Now, let's think about this logically, Crowder. You got two people fighting. One has a knife. Now, depending on the situation, important, very important, the situation, you have two choices, or multiple, but in this case, let's say two. One is to tackle, or, I was saying do a warning shot, but that wouldn't make any sense. So, tackle, or anything else other than just shoot. And two is to shoot in a mature and thoughtful way, as in shoot on the arm. Or shoot where the knife was about to stab, or, again, if you have the capable speed of shooting at her, and it seems like aiming, maybe the police officer didn't aim, let's say he did aim in a very rapid speed of the brain, he could have done arm, not, I don't know, heart. I don't know where he shot her. And maybe he was going for the arm, but it went from the arm to the heart, or from the arm to the neck, or I don't know. I need to know more detail of it and see the footage again. Not just shoot uncontrollably and immaturely, and not anything else, and if you kill them, sad, but justified sometimes. If you don't kill them, then good. Still have to shoot them. But good that they're still alive, so, we can know why they did it. We want to know why people do things like stabbing people. I think that's like a, not an everyday thing, not an everyday thing, And that's really logical. And I was trying to look at my comment to see why I said that. I don't know why. But that will be a logical thing, a reasonable thing to do, Crowder, if we look at it logically. But, no, for you it's like, oh, that was darn good shooting. Should be required to do that. Okay, police state, Crowder.
and she was charging someone else. That is not the behavior of someone who called the police. They seem to be waiting for the police. She did not, which brings us to our next claim. Micaiah, this was one that was reported everywhere, even here at NPR, the bastion of legitimate news. Micaiah is the one who called the cops, right? This is how it was reported. We even covered it yesterday. Well, turns out, if they'd have waited a little bit, the Columbus Police Department actually released the phone call. Here you go.
These broke girls over here trying to fight us, trying to stop us, trying to put our hands on our grandma. Get here now.
Yeah.
Trying to put their hands on
Trying to put their hands on us. And they hadn't identified the caller exactly, right, the police.
Yeah.
But we do know that, I think you can do this overlay case, she had a knife and she was being stabby right there. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. The police officer stopped that stabbing right there. Or as the media said, she was holding a knife.
Well,
Right.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, because holding a knife can mean, wait guys, it can mean a lot of things. Did you know holding a knife can also mean that you're doing something violent? I know. It's incredible. It's incredible. I know conservatives. I know Crowder. It's incredible. Holding something can also mean that you're doing violence. I know it's amazing. It's not rocket science. It's a logic, Crowder. It's kind of obvious to say if you're holding a knife, you could potentially doing harm, depending on how we have something called context in conversation and language. Basic grammar. If somebody's holding something, that can mean A, in this case, drink, B, throw, C, hit, D, put away, and other things. That's kind of how that works, Crowder. It's kind of obvious. I thought you knew that, but, we heard that you are childish, but even then, come on. And this was a long time ago, so I think Crowder has matured. I think. It's been 25 years,
Yeah. She was holding a knife. Oh, she's buttering toast?
Well, Stephen, technically that's true.
Yeah, it is, because holding a knife can also mean violence. Am I good? Is the camera good? Am I good? I don't want to keep freezing up. Okay, I think we're good.
Comedians just walking that line.
Look.
How can we say this in the least offensive way possible?
Yeah. Why did you say she was holding a knife?
Yeah, like, oh, guys, I'm holding a gun. Oh, you're not doing anything. Bang, bang, bang. He said he was just holding a gun. No, I think when somebody says I'm holding a gun, that might mean that they're gonna do something with it. Maybe violent with it, Well, generally, if you hold a gun, you might potentially do something violent to it. That's what it's for. But you guys know what I mean. Like, words matter. Label, come on, Brett. This is, literally, grammar 101. Come on.
While pinning the pink girl against the car.
But why nobody wants to show up and kill anybody.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. You're pushing this narrative that that's what the guy wanted to do. It's nonsense.
No. He came up
Nobody
asking,
wants to
what's happening?
Yeah, and he had to jump in. He had to do something. Would you want a cop to show up and go, look, I know she's stabbing you, but I don't want to come off as racist. I'd help you, but it's not.
He does have a point, but, it's also kind of put the knife down, or freeze, or I'll shoot. He didn't even, if I'm correct, he didn't do that, he just went. But again, it was a very high tense, yes, thank you, Jesus, high tense situation. So again, a high tense situation, you do what you do at that second, every second does count, and every second did count. But I wouldn't say this is a requirement to just shoot people if they're holding a knife, which in this context means violence. I think that's kind of obvious, but some people cannot see the obvious, and the obvious in some other cases is something else, but generally this is obvious,
it's not my job.
Yeah, and the girl in pink go, what about me? I'm black. It's like, you don't matter if you're the victim.
Look,
Just ask Jacob Blake's broad.
You can tell she's 100 pounds healthier, and I don't want you to get COVID.
Right, exactly.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, nobody wants to see a girl like that. Nobody wants to see anybody die.
No.
For this cop to actually take somebody's life, anybody that takes somebody's life, is extremely traumatic and traumatizing. What?
True, but that doesn't mean we just give him a medal and say, that's good shooting. We don't just say that's good shooting or that's required. That is so hypocritical. Can I do this? Thank you. That is so hypocritical. You're like, we don't want anybody to die. Nobody wants to kill anybody, but yet Crowder says that should be a requirement to shoot people if they're holding a knife, I guess. Like, that is kind of the requirement already. You shoot somebody if they're doing wrong, maybe. If they're resisting, like, you know, if they're doing some things where you have to shoot them, you know. I think that's what Crowder meant, but he needs to clarify, you know. But, I mean, other than that, it does sound hypocritical. Like, same thing with the overweight joke. Like, if you're saying you want overweight people to have less weight because you're concerned, why did you do the no that's? Why did you laugh at the overweight person instead of saying, hey, you should lose weight? Same thing with here. If you're saying, like, nobody should die, you know, we need to, you know, do this and that, why does the host say, quote, I think this is an actual quote from Crowder, quote, it should be a requirement to do that. Don't quote me on that, but, like, pretty much he says it should be a requirement to do that, to shoot. Shooting, depending on the situation, can cause death. So if you don't want death, why are you promoting death in a sensible way?
Would you assume
For the cop.
Yes.
Yeah, for the cop. Yeah, this
Well,
is honestly, he's
for
the
all
only
of
one I
them.
feel. Well, he's the one I feel worse for. I don't feel bad at all for the fact that the shooting happened. I would have felt worse had the girl been stabbed. Now I get it. You know,
I
I
don't
see people
either.
killed. Yeah, but I don't feel. It's one of those things. Like George Floyd, of course, it's a tragedy. It breaks my heart. This doesn't. This doesn't. It would have broken my heart to see a girl get stabbed. Now they said that she was the one who called the cops, Micaiah. This is how it was reported everywhere. Okay, let's go again through the logic process. Someone who calls the cops because they're being threatened. If she was the one who had called the cops saying they're trying to get me, why wasn't she in her room locking the door?
I don't know, maybe she actually tried to defend herself by using a knife, but it looked like she was trying to just stab somebody. If she did make the call or not, from what I know, maybe she did, maybe she didn't. So then, that actually raises more of a question, why did the cop shoot her? We could have gotten more information from her side to see what was the problem. Emotional, psychological, social, spiritual even. But again, sadly, we cannot know that because of heated situation. She is dead. So, you might, again, never know why all of it happened. That's why maybe not even police reform in this situation, but just better training in general, which I think both the left and the right can agree with, and center.
In the door. Why wasn't she hiding? Why wasn't she sequestered? The jury should be, but they all do it. Why wasn't she taken? No, they were outside waiting for the cops, expecting the cops, talking with the cops, and she ran out and charged with a knife like she was fighting for Genghis Khan.
Well, I actually have a comment with the holding knife thing. Crowder, when people say somebody's holding a knife, in some situations like somebody's holding a gun, most logical people tend to think, okay, they have a gun, they're going to try to shoot somebody, something with the gun. If somebody's holding a knife, most logical people tend to think, okay, they have a knife. They're going to try to stab someone something with the knife. It's obvious when someone says he's got a weapon, that means he's going to use that weapon. But if we use Crowder's thinking, well, he never said he's going to use the weapon, or you guys didn't say that he's going to use the weapon. A logical person knows that when someone is saying she's got a weapon, that means that the person is most likely going to use that weapon. Basic logic, Crowder. Basic logic. True.
Well, and at the very least, why don't you run up to the cops and say, "Thank you, help, I'm here, these are the bad guys," right? The cop is there and she comes out.
I was going to get to it when I was finished my stabbing.
Oh. You gotta take care of some stuff first.
I got stuff to do.
But who? What? Look.
I know.
So that's the other girl's voice on the recording, correct?
It sounds like it.
That's what it sounds like to me.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay.
Not according to NPR. Take it at face value. It was Micaiah who called the cops.
Why? Because Ira Glass thought it was somebody else. I'm afraid that was not her.
Yeah. That would be great if we have the 911 call and it was just them doing their white guy voice. Hello, officer. There's someone trying to happen. Yeah.
It is a person of color.
It is a person of color in this community, which how are you doing, Richard? Third claim that they made. And this one really, when I saw it, I said we have to make sure that we address this because it just shows again inaccuracy because the aunt was really the only word when this initially started, right?
Yeah.
They took her testimony as fact. She was the one who made a lot of these claims. So when it was first reported, it was her aunt who was on the scene.
Okay.
Right? Well, then it changed yesterday to her dad and grandmother telling the aunt what actually happened. Right? And by the way, again, this is a report here, USA Today, just in case you didn't realize. It says holding a knife. This is another. She was holding a knife. Just holding a knife. That's like saying a mass shooter was holding a gun, and he's right.
Yes, he is holding a gun, as in he's going to use the gun to shoot. Oh my gosh. Crowder. Continue.
Lizzo was holding a spoon, okay? She wasn't just holding a knife. She was actively...
Yeah. I explained it. Let's continue.
Committing a violent felony with said knife. The dad also was kicking someone on the ground, kicking the other girl off the ground. Yes.
I was about to say, who's the jerk that's trying to kick somebody in the head that's on the ground right in front of the cop? Oh, that's Dad.
Yeah, that's just my old man.
Something about apples and trees on this one.
So Micaiah's dad is kicking a girl in the head?
Yeah, the one that was on the ground. He looks rather young.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, let's not
Could
do
be
that.
kicking
He.
minor in the head.
Yeah. By the way, I love the fact check that you just brought up. If you saw there, right below, they were like, hey, people are saying the knife was on the ground, and that is inaccurate.
That was another myth.
It was just in the hand.
It was in her hand while she was swinging.
You feel like you've done your job now?
That's USA Today's false virtue signal. It's like, listen, a lot of places are reporting that she dropped the knife before she was shot just because the aunt said it who wasn't there, but that was at NPR, and that was at Daily Beast and CNN and MSNBC. But we have more integrity than that here at USA Today. We do believe, but unconfirmed, she was holding a knife.
I know. It's like she was trying to do something with it. Gosh.
Before we move on to, we're going to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. We have Corey Mosdell in a little bit. I think we have defense attorney, Derek Chauvin, Eric Nelson, right?
Guys, this is pretty much to conservatives and fascists and people who wanted a police state, pretty much. This is the reaction to the Chauvin trial, pretty much. They were for him because, including Crowder, because he's doing this bit because I don't know why. I guess he's a Chauvin guy. I don't know.
Well, great. Calling
Seems
Mr. Nelson, thank you for being here, sir. We appreciate it. How has this affected you?
So, it's been a rough week.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine. Do you have plans to...
It's not actually the person who defended Derek Chauvin. It's just a bit. It's a skit. A very weird skit. It makes you think that maybe he does want a police state. I don't know.
Good. File?
Yeah, whatever.
An appeal, maybe?
We really want Derek to be free because I'm a police status. Please.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right.
Drinking is the answer.
It's been hard.
That was me in political conservatism. I'm like, nope, do it. Nope, out of here. Nope, and delete. Nope, I'm sorry, political conservatism. You've gone a little bit too far right to where a little bit fascistic. I'm out. Packed my bags. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Hard on him. Let's not forget the.
I almost went to the other radical side of the left, but then I'm like, nope, detour, nope, I'm just gonna stay kind of middle, maybe. Physical conservative libertarian, if you please.
Not forget the real victims. And I want to know, hey, look, if you're out there, just leave a comment below. Did you believe any of these myths? Did you believe that Micaiah called the cops? Did you believe that she dropped the knife? Did you believe that her aunt was there? Did you believe that they were attacking her? Did you believe, now I saw somewhere circulating that she's autistic?
Oh, really?
Someone was saying,
Who was it? Fox News, InfoWars? I don't know. Most likely. Obviously, because Alex Jones and Steven Crowder, I think they talked a lot. It seems like they're kind of, they're best buddies, makes sense. It all comes
someone was saying that, like, it's not her fault.
Justification.
Yeah,
It feels like a Hail Mary.
It doesn't
That
have
was the strength of 10 men.
to the people. Oh, and by the way, too, none of this stopped. Now that we know all of this, I think everyone has agreed, everyone can agree that the shooting was justified. And I'm not just saying justified, I think necessary.
Yeah.
If you don't think that a cop should be able to shoot somebody mid-stab, then you don't think we need to have cops, which, by the way, Democrats don't believe. They don't believe. They talk about defunding the police. It wasn't just a tagline.
Defunding the police doesn't mean you're necessarily against the police. You're just saying that the police might have too much funding to where they have tanks against people who are shouting Black Lives Matter. They have tanks for that. Yeah, maybe their funds should go to other things to reduce the amount of crime and to maybe not let police officers always have tanks, especially if people like Trump try to abuse that power of law enforcement, That doesn't mean we're against cops. That is, we're actually for cops. We're saying, no, maybe cops shouldn't be as militaristic. They have lives too. This is America, not other countries who we are fighting against. This is our own land, That's a pro-cop thing.
Tagline, they actually want to defund the police. And this is the issue, kind of the difference with today's Marxists, the social justice warriors.
Yes, it has to be a Marxist if it's defunding the police. If it's abolish the police, then it might be Marxist. Actually, that would be more true, because I think Marxists are more abolishing than refunding, if I'm correct. Sorry, not refunding, defunding.
Horrible. I'm not defending them at all. But they, not meaning Stalin, but people who voted for it thought they were voting to build in this brave new world, like to build this utopia. Today's social justice warriors, they're not even trying to build anything. They're just trying to destroy, and they have nothing really to replace it with. Let's destroy, let's use the Green New Deal. That was trending today. Let's destroy the entire economy. Let's destroy all our modes of transportation and energy resources and rebuild it with, well, I don't know, you have to check these 15, 16 pages. You don't have a replacement there. You just want to destroy for the sake of it. And that's why you have the looting. And that's why you have people who think that horrible behavior is justifiable, because it's just about destroying the police, destroying norms and institutions. And they accuse Republicans of doing that because we thought you should have ID to vote. So,
yeah. Well, they're like the Joker tossing the lighter on the big stack of cash.
But also, it's like you guys are hypocrites because you're against, you're against vaccine passports, but yet you want voter ID. The more you know, guys, the more you know. Stunning revelation there. But anyways.
Except it's ours. Right? Yes. We're turning our stuff, right? And saying, no, we just want to destroy the world. By the way, this stat is, she's going to fall into this category of statistics where officer-involved shootings with a black person, and no context will be given. It'll just be like another black person was killed like 2 years from now.
Right.
When stats come out, they'll include this in the number, and we'll be like, but hold on,
And
she
even-
was trying to kill somebody.
And even then, the number of white people shot by cops is going to be twice as
Still higher.
I don't know where.
Oh wow, it's not like white people have a bigger population. No, it's not like that would actually make sense. It's not like, you know, it's not like we're not ignoring that, but also seeing how a lot of times cops treat black people wrong. Wow. The more you know.
Where people, I don't know. Again, when the media says they're disproportionately shot by
That
police,
was sarcasm.
what stat are you using? It doesn't exist.
There's only one stat if you use the entire population of black people in the country, which is absolutely meaningless, and that is what this is all built on. It's the thing that I hate most about using these stats is that it has to have context. A white guy and a black guy get stopped by a cop in separate instances. The white guy is much more likely.
No, if I'm correct, it's actually the black person that gets a bit more trash than the white person. But if we're doing it by population, I think by what is it called? I think it's something else. But by population, yes, maybe the cops would be more trashy for white people, but the motive of it would be more aggressive for black people, or black people might not have the chance to live as much as white people. But again, white people are the bigger population, they're the majority. That's why I'm part of the minority group or community. I'm part of the black community because I'm black and I believe that, you know, all that. That, you know, I'm black, I can overcome, but there is some things that I have to go through because I am black. I'm not doubting myself, I'm just saying that there are a lot of races, especially in the South, especially in the down South, which I am in the down South. There's a lot of racism. Mostly towards black people. Sometimes towards white people, most of the time towards black people. But continue.
Likely to be shot by the cop than the black guy. Period. That's what matters.
I think the stat is half of the media reports on it. Right. Half of the media report on you know, white people.
They say 2.5 times more likely to be shot if you're black. That is if you take the entire population of black people and
Because they make up 13% of the population,
exactly.
but they commit over 50% of the violent crimes, and overall there are still far fewer black
I
people.
wonder why that, if it seems to be true, black people do commit 50% more of the crime. I wonder why. Maybe the situation of a lot of those black people? Maybe a system that might be making them, you know, feel trashy to where they think they have to commit crime, you know, the drug war. Like maybe a system that was targeting them for maybe racist tension, for racist needs or unracist needs. But if you're targeting against against a race, it's still kind of racist, even though it was intentional or not. Maybe. Let's just think about that. The more you know.
Black people were shot. Now listen, if an innocent person is shot by lethal use of force that's inappropriate, white or black, that's a problem.
Yes.
There could be some common ground. We can't.
Like George Floyd, but yet your team Chauvin. Continue.
Common ground, one that's predicated on a lie. That black men are being shot, hunted down, to use the terms of celebrities, by officers. When, listen,
Come on, what do we mean by hunted down? I think they generally mean it seems like they're being hunted down, like they're targeting black people more, which is true. Which in the overreacting term would be hunting down. Like, I'm not trying to defend every single thing, but I'm just saying, like, you know?
when we say all lives matter, we're saying, oh, we want to act. If we want police reform, yeah, let's actually look at the police.
Yeah, let's look at it all. But it seems like one race seems to not matter than the others right now. That's why we have Black Lives Matter. That's why there should be maybe Asian Lives Matter, because Asians are getting kind of attacked through bigoted means. through people saying Chinese Wuhan virus that could cause violence, and how China and the Chinese people and all that can cause some hate crimes from black or white people against Asian people. Because it seems like their lives are not that much. It seems like their lives are not mattered right now. Their lives seem to not matter right now. So we need to make this statement that Asian lives do matter.
The police unions. Let's look at the blue wall of silence. Let's make some improvements. Let's make sure that these are appropriate with their municipalities. In my case, let's encourage chokeholds as opposed to baton beatings. But that's because, I understand the physiology of a chokehold. Many people don't, so they just say we should ban it. Instead, it's a lie.
I'm sorry.
And so people loot on the lie.
Yeah.
And people don't unify on the lie. You can't.
Well, the right unified on the lie. Oof.
Start it with a lie. Okay. Now, none of this stopped. What matters about this, too, is...
It did. Conservatism started with... Political conservatism for the 2020s started with a lie. That caused a attempted from a almost insurrection. Because insurrection, if I'm correct, it means that they did do it. I think attempted insurrection would be... But pretty much they did an insurrection, or tried to do an insurrection. So, yeah, I can agree, a lot of lies, both on the left, but especially on the right, especially now, have done a lot of harm in this country. Truth, I just pray for truth. In Jesus' name, amen. Truth. Jesus.
No, I just think the part of it is that they're saying that, yes, it is the percentage of the population, but there's been an unjust system, so part of the statistic that they commit the most violent
Exactly. There is an unjust system. Therefore, maybe we should do some reforming, and maybe some defunding of some police stations that might not need tanks for people who are just saying Black Lives Matter.
violent crimes is inaccurate. Yeah, I'm just saying that's part of the narrative. I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
true or not, and I'm sure there are certainly cases where black people spend way too much time in prison and have had unfair trials.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen with whites either. But the idea that I really cannot grasp, honestly, why we are going backward.
I mean, because I gotta be honest, you're a comedian. Some comedians shouldn't have, or shouldn't say anything about their political opinions. Exhibit A through Z, Crowder. Just saying, like, some people shouldn't say things if they're not experts. It's okay to say, I don't know. And it's also okay to say that I do know, because I am an expert.
Backwards at rocket speed with race in this country.
Oh, I know exactly why, because it's required. It's required, or a lot of people are out of a job.
It's true.
Is Al Sharpton going to be gainfully employed? No. What about Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris and Joe Biden go up there and say, this showed the entire world that the United States is a systemically racist country. Yeah. That doesn't help anybody, and again, it's not true. For the same reason they go out and they say, voter ID, it oppresses black people, and black people say, no, that's not true. That's not us. It's a bunch of white privileged liberals. They're the only one.
According to 80% of the black population, 80 out of what? And the other 20, if I'm getting that right, the other 20. How do they feel about it? Maybe we should talk about all sides.
Only ones
all
who
lives matter.
perpetuate these narratives. You don't really see it from the majority of black Americans. And by the way, just case in point, none of these facts.
Maybe we should look at all opinions. Maybe some opinions matter than others. Especially if a lot of them are based on lies and propaganda. Maybe we should listen to them. Maybe we should have conversations about them and pray about it and talk to God about it and see if they're good or bad. If they're good, okay. If they're bad, throw them out.
Like, even Jen Psaki, Chucky in Chief, she was the one who, when addressing this, assumed...
Okay. Somebody was just asking me something. We're back.
Assumed guilt, and right away went off half-cocked without facts. So it gives license to the media, it gives them cover. Here you go, her talking about the shooting in Columbus.
The killing of 16-year-old Michaela Bryant by the Columbus police is tragic. She was a child. We're thinking of her friends and family and the communities that are hurting and grieving her loss. We know that police violence disproportionately impacts Black and Latino people in communities, and that Black
No, it
men and
doesn't.
girls,
Is that
like
true?
Black men and boys,
Yes, it is.
experience higher rates of police violence. We also know that there are particular vulnerabilities that children in foster care like Micaiah, face, and her death came, as you noted.
Wait, Micaiah was in foster care? Didn't know that. Wonder why.
Just as America was hopeful of a step forward after the traumatic and exhausting trial of Derek Chauvin
actually don't
and the
know.
verdict that was reached.
Look, I don't want to get too serious, but that's really important. What she
I mean, she could have said what she did was wrong, but she was a 16-year-old child, X, Y, and Z. She could have said, hey, she was stabbing somebody, but she was still a 16-year-old girl, X, Y, and Z. So, again, but it depends of, that's why I just pray that the White House, especially the White House, will get information and able to form good opinions, because the White House represents, you know, America with the entire world, but the White House does represent America. In Jesus' name, amen. You know, just pray for better statistics in Jesus' name.
But what she just said there at the end, just as the United States was getting hopeful. So that's
True, because we have police violence, racially motivated or not racially motivated, or not racially motivated. We have police violence. We just had a case of a policeman doing unjustified violence to a black person, or just a person, or person of color, to be specific if you want to. Maybe some reform or defunding might help. Or maybe not. Just better training.
so that answers your question. I don't want to rob you of hope. A lot of good things are happening.
The right is robbing you of hope. The right is saying you have to fight. The left is pretty much saying we have to make sure the right doesn't do an insurrection again.
Remember under Donald Trump? Record low black unemployment? Record low unemployment.
Oh, record low unemployment rate. See, with that, you know, if that's true, which I think it is, good. Doesn't mean Trump was a good person. That just means he did some good things. Like King Saul before David. He might have done some good things, but he was still in sin, you know? But, I think for me, with race relations, for me, I think Trump generally just threw money in situations like race relations, and it just made it worse. And that was the main problem with Trump's presidency. He tried to run the country like a business. You can't run a country like a business. Your Americans are not your employees or something like that. It should be, the president should run a country more like a house. There's some of our siblings that are maybe good and some bad, but if we try to come together in the dinner of conversation, and the table of understanding, with the foods and drinks of opinions and ideas, we can make sure if it's rotten, we throw it away. If it's not, we make more of it. Leftovers. And if it goes away, we do something that might be similar to it, but a little bit more liberating, while conserving the main point. That is how we should run this country. And I just pray that Joe Biden and every other president after him will do that. In Jesus' name, amen. Because that's important.
Low unemployment. An unbelievable economy, more American independence, energy independence, and guess what? They made you think it was awful and bleak. This is one thing, too, that I've talked about before. When people say it's not left and right. No, actually it is. There's correct right, and then there's left and right. But it is right versus...
There's correct right. No, I would say there's lying right, then there's left and right. But even then...
I will say, in this country...
Even then, I would say there's true and false right. Sorry, truth and lies right wing, and a truth and lies left wing. Because that is more accurate.
Match up constitutionally. You may not like it, the right is correct. Now, this happens with Republicans and Democrats. When they say Republicans are the party of the rich, well, that's actually not really true if you look at
I
working.
mean, they are the party of the rich. They care more about cutting taxes for people, but cutting taxes for billionaires, or making sure billionaires don't even pay their taxes. That's what it seems like. And it just seems like they're more so for the rich and powerful. They don't seem like they're for people with t-shirts. They seem like people with suits that they wear. So that's kind of true.
Working class people voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. But if Republicans are the party of the rich, okay, you need to win a majority of votes. So it's in their best interest to make you and keep you
poor, because they care about rich people. But I'll debunk Crowder's sort of idea about the party of the rich and party of the poor, what that actually means, and debunking what he thinks it is.
If Democrats are the party of the poor, it's in their best interest. They require to make you, keep you poor. Now, Democrats can only win, the left, they can only win if things are bad. They can only be gainfully employed if they convince you that you need them. Because look, the message from Republicans...
Excuse me. First, I'm going to do what pretty much what Crowder is saying. Since the Republicans are part of the rich, that means they want to make you rich. Since Democrats are the party of the poor, they want to make you poor. The more accurate is more the Republicans are the party of the rich, because they want to do things that seem to be more for the rich, seem to be more for the powerful. They seem to, again, be with people in suits rather than people in t-shirts. They're not as relatable as most people are. Most people aren't billionaires. But guess what? Most Republicans are more familiar with billionaires, rich people. They are really relatable with them, but not really poor people. The reason why Democrats might be called party of the poor is because it seems like they're for people with t-shirts. They seem to maybe be more relatable with people who are poor or the middle class. Joe Biden and Trump. Trump, billionaire. Never really had hardships. Yes, he had, sadly, death in his family. Yes, he had to maybe go through businesses not booming. But generally, he didn't really go through life being poor or middle class. But Joe Biden, he did. He wasn't a big billionaire. You know, he was middle class. His father had to take the bus every day to make it in time for his family. But with Trump, he had everything with a silver platter, richer. So, yeah, I think Republicans in some cases are the party of rich people, and Democrats tend to sometimes be more of the party of the poor people, which makes more sense.
Republicans, the message from libertarian conservatives, Big Tent, and everyone from Ron Paul and Rand Paul all the way over to Donald Trump,
or at least he's not a Michael Nolan. So at least Crowder's Big Tent. At least he understands the tent.
Hey, you can make it. Yeah. You can actually
No, the actual thing now is more like we need to fight back against this. The left is trying to control everything. It's mostly based on fear. The communists are coming after your kids, or the gays are coming after your mothers. It's not, hey, you can make it. It's more like, hey, there's a danger. We need to fight back.
Through your own, some people have tough breaks. Some people have a leg up. That's true. But the beauty with this country is, unlike other countries that came before it, where your class was fixed, you have the ability and you have the choices and the liberty to make your life better. And you know what? This country is actually a pretty damn good place. Republicans, conservatives can only win if they appeal to your best nature and you believe.
That's why they've been losing, because it's always about fear or about taking back what is ours. They're not saying, let's stand up, let's have hope. They're more like, rise up and fight, freedom, something like that.
Believe in your potential. They are required to win an election to give you hope. Democrats, you just heard it from Seth, are required to crushing your hope. 'Cause
No, what they do is usually pretty much we can't let fascism happen. We can't have another George Floyd. We can't have another this or that. So we have to do what we have to do and stand up against the radicals and make sure that, our base is pretty good. At the end of the day, that's what the left is saying. The left isn't really fear-mongering. They're actually kind of saying, hey, yes, an insurrection happened, but this is why you shouldn't be a right-wing person, pretty much. I might not agree with them with that, necessarily, but, I don't really see that much fear-mongering. I see is reality hits you in the face, and we have to stand up against the reality. The horrible reality of people, again, taking away basic medical care for trans people. Some are trying to take away from them. But we have to stand up against that. They're both pretty much saying we have to defend something, but one is saying more fear and fighting back, but the other one is saying this is the reality, we have to stand up against some people. But
because if everything is out of your control, there's nothing you can do. Oh my gosh, I'm a black person, and cops are just hunting me down. What can I do?
Oh my gosh, I'm a conservative. They're canceling me.
Hey, another $4 trillion to fix it.
Hey, we have oil billionaires.
Good work with Republicans saying, we're going to spend less and stay out of your way. Yeah. That only...
Democrats, we're going to try to help you more.
If there's hope and optimism, this is something that people need to understand when they say it's not left versus right. There is one that is about soul-crushing, destroying hope, and one side of the political wing that can only win if you believe that you can make it and you can better your life.
Yeah, and it's all a thirst for power. That's it. That's the sinister part of this. It's all trying to get votes. Dave, going back to your point, Steve, yours. This is all they're doing is trying to get votes. You know how I know they were serious if they were worrying about the black community right now?
What?
I would look at the age group of, 15 to 34-year-old black males. Number one killer of them, everybody else.
Our strongest demographic.
Right. Everybody else, it's heart disease.
I get it.
Almost every other group, every other race, it's heart disease. 15 to 34-year-old black males, homicide. Committed by 93%, black males on black males. Yeah. If you are serious about fixing a problem and caring about the community, talk to me about that.
And by the way, there can be two problems. You're going to say, well, we're talking about different. No, there can be two problems in the sense that we need some kind of police reform. Our view is entirely consistent because I think unions went away with the post-industrial revolution. I don't think the police union should exist. You believe that all unions should exist and be required for Amazon to provide you a $125,000 a year job in Queens, and you still kick them out of the union, but all of a sudden the only union that you don't like is a police union. I don't like any unions. I believe that the two problems can be true. Yeah. However, which problem is more pressing? Which one needs addressing if you actually want to improve the lives of people? Yes. Violent
which can do the most good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can't defund a problem. You're not going to cure cancer by not giving any...
Oh, gosh. If you try... But you can't defund cancer, but you can defund the police to maybe make sure that the police isn't as militarized. You know what I mean.
Any money to it. It doesn't make any sense.
Wait, what? Go back.
We're in a...
Which can do the most good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can't defund a problem. You're not going to cure cancer by not giving any money to it. It doesn't make any sense.
You don't give money to it, you give money to the doctors to defend it. So, not defunding, which is, I guess, more funding St. Jude and any other cancer clinics that are trying to get rid of cancer. If I got that right. Cancer clinics? I think they're called that. Or health clinics or hospitals. After you can put money to it to defeat cancer and the coronavirus. So, wow, that take there.
Any sense?
Does
wearing
make
a pink
sense.
ribbon. Oh, what does that mean? It means I stole one of the mastectomy titties from the bin. So,
There's a
doing my part.
I don't want to wear the ribbon.
There's a lot of them. Here's something else that people talk about quite a bit, and I think this matters. People say, well, hold on a second, racism.
Before we do that, I think I want to do this comment. I think it's a little bit, but it's still kind of part of the conversation in general. I just finished watching a debate with Hunter Averill and Vosh against two other people about this conversation. I think at the end of the day, we need both cultural and systematic change. Just because, let's say we change the system to where it's not as racist. The culture might not be like that, and say let's just change the culture. Well, we still have a system that might be racist, or somewhat racist. Let's change both, if we have to.
Racism, Kyle Rittenhouse, Dylan Roof, these people, why were they arrested by police and not shot? And on its surface, maybe people would think that it makes sense. And I love how the left always says, Republicans are just black and white, we deal in nuance. Well, this one doesn't even, let's deal in the nuance. And by nuance, I mean, look at the video, for starters. So, let's look at how they were actually arrested. And by the way, I don't think that we should put Kyle Rittenhouse in the same breath as Dylan Roof and Nicholas Cruz, who was the Parkland shooter. However, let's look at the way these people were arrested and then compare it with Micaiah and see if you can spot the difference. Race has nothing to do with it. So first, awful, horrible person, hope that he rots in prison or gets electrocuted. Dylan, this is how he does it.
It's the kind of violence that no one's going to make you a better deal. You can get really 2015 in your contract instead of $6,000.
I love the used car commercial.
I know. It's like, we don't want that ad running.
Walking out. Hey! He looks just like Dante Wright did.
No, I actually can't see the video, so in this case we're gonna skip some because I don't remember that much of what's going on. So maybe not. We'll just see. I gotta see. Hold on.
The police car put his gun down. At that point, it's more important to hold.
I think they're talking about Rittenhouse.
Hands up until they tell you to put the gun down because it's strapped on.
Right.
And then finally, we have Micaiah Bryant, who obviously rushed a woman while brandishing, stabbing,
holding a knife.
So,
the others, the guy I couldn't see and I don't remember, but pretty much I found correct, they're trying to compare how it's not about race, it's about the situation. There's a lot of cases it is about the situation. And from what I remember from the footage, the others seem to be less heated situations, while the 16-year-old girl situation was more heated. The others, from what I remember from the footage and just how it sounded like, it was more peaceful and the action was over. But with the 16-year-old girl situation, it was during the action. That's actually, I just realized, it's not a good comparison, because you have the three ones that they showed, it was more so after the action, after the act occurred. But with the 16-year-old girl, it was during the action. It was when the action was occurring. So if you want to do actual situations, you would compare this maybe to actually George Floyd, which I think Jan Psaki was saying, yeah, they're kind of maybe similar in terms of the police.
So?
Or maybe she was saying because it was racist, which I don't necessarily agree. I need to look at more of that. And, but generally, I think that was what Jan Psaki was kind of saying, that how police handle certain things is an issue. Which it is. And that'll get better in Jesus' name.
I feel like, though, if he was shot right there, Kyle Rittenhouse, you wouldn't find it unjustified.
With his hands up and I would.
When he reached down like that?
Well, with his left hand, he reached to kind of put.
He put the gut.
Well, that doesn't matter.
Well,
It's
put it this way. Put it this way. I can understand people saying that. However, we don't have any comparable scenario where someone was shot literally just for this. None of these ones that we've seen. So what's important is comparing it to the control group. Let's go to.
I just found it in a devil's ad.
No, I totally appreciate it. Here's Micaiah. See if you can spot the difference. Hint. It's not Melanie.
What's going on? Hey, what's going on?
Same approach. Hey. Dad kicks apparently a minor.
It's not a same approach. What?
Okay. So let me be really clear here in case you haven't noticed the difference.
One was, I think, 2 years ago, and the other was 3 years ago.
One was, I think, 2 years ago. And I think
after the action occurred, and the other one was during the action occurring. Yeah, that a good comparison, Crowder.
Active shooter or active stabber, someone who is currently trying to commit harm against their fellow citizen, a police officer is required to take action. Now, if someone is surrendering with their hands up and complying, even if they just killed 500 people, it is against the law for you to shoot them. There's actually 1980.
True. Then why did you make the comparison? The comparison doesn't make any sense. One is after the action occurred, and the other one is during the action occurring. As in, they're different situations. How would you want to compare them? To prove a point that there's different situations? Yeah, no, nobody really is Is anybody disagreeing? No. Again, nobody is in here, but you get the point what I'm trying to make. No.
1989 Supreme Court case. Graham versus Connor ruled that for lethal force to be justified, a suspect, this is overlay T, suspect must pose an immediate threat to the community and or actively be fleeing arrest. By the way, as far as police reform, it's been suggested that they don't do any foot pursuits at all anymore. So, the good news, criminals, is if you really don't want to be arrested, just work on your 40-minute dash time. So, it's illegal.
Statistically, they're fine.
Look, I think the 800 meters is really what you're going for.
Yeah,
you really want that. You want some hurdles.
Yeah.
There was a portly girl once caught in my fence when we had a cops busted a party. Yeah.
Again, tell me if you guys can spot the difference and if you understand when police can use lethal force. Because again, this matters because it might save your life.
He does have a little point. If you're encountering a police officer, do what they say. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, Z. No, Z. Comply. If they do anything wrong, if they feel like they're being too aggressive over, say, a ticket, remember the badge number. Remember the license plate. Remember their badge. Do what you do to survive. Yes, it's especially if you're in a particular state or neighborhood where it seems like you're going to be more targeted based on your skin. White, black, Hispanic, Asian, white, comply. Until you have until in the right situation you can say, this police officer, I know the badge number, it's blah blah blah, he did this to me, it was wrong, blah blah blah, what he did was wrong, I want to file a lawsuit.
You need to understand that. Even if you committed a crime, and you know you committed a crime, you still make it out alive if you understand that if you comply and your hands are up, it's illegal. Yeah, guys, come on. I always have problems with Skype. Jimmy Kimmel can deal with this shit. Then again, you don't have to deal with Jimmy Kimmel, so it's a wash.
Well, you're funnier than me.
Also, Anthony Anderson.
Subjective. Very subjective. Most subjective thing this year.
Isn't standing on stage ruining you. What an embarrassment.
Oh my God.
So we're gonna move on here too. And by the way, hey, if you're watching right now, anyone watching right now live?
Oh yes. Sorry. No subscriptions here. None of the like gold. Okay. Not saying Crowder. I'm just saying. Except mine. Please don't go away. But remember to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, good conversations. I might join you in the comment section down below if I have time, or when I have time, because this is before I have my YouTube channel. But don't worry, I get it very soon, in Jesus' name.
It's time right now because we know that a lot of people 2 weeks ago or last week were very offended at and we are not beyond apologizing. We are not beyond recognizing our own shortcomings as it related to people of color, African American, black farmers. However, I do think that many people, of course, completely disregarded context. So this is a segment that I wish I would never have to do. One should never have to explain comedy or jokes because it's a pride-swallowing speech. Never.
I had to explain why my racist jokes are not racist. Pretty much he did a joke that was pretty racist, pretty much, actually, I think they're gonna actually play it, so I'll explain to you why it seems to be like a racist joke, or a racially sensitive joke.
So we tell you that. So now it's time to go to a new segment we call Painstakingly Explaining Jokes.
Oh, I have to explain my own joke because it might be controversial. Like, I don't know if I can play that music. Hold on. Alright, we're good.
People are getting mad about this clip for some reason, so it just shows you the level of offense. Dr. Ben Carson saying that equity as opposed to equality is just a new form of racism. Preemptively, I agree.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spent a lot of time trying to get people
separate
to
conjoined
not
twins.
look at external
Just had a dream.
characteristics which they cannot change and which they cannot help, and instead to look at the things that you can change and the things that you can help, such as your character. What kind of person are you? Shouldn't we be paying more attention to that than to external characteristics? You know, that's what animals do. Animals, you know, base a lot of what they do on external characteristics because they don't have the mental capacity to dissect further into what's really important. We do.
Well, some of us might be a little bit more animalistic than others. For good or bad. Generally for bad, not for good. Bad. Not saying Republicans and conservatives are animals, I'm just saying he's got a point. I agree.
So let's utilize that. It just infuriates me when I see us
This is him
acting
infuriated.
so immaturely, and we have
pretty
so
bad.
much more capacity, and we can work together, we can solve these problems, but there are those who want to use every instance to drive stakes of division into
You know
everything.
what? If that's him infuriated, I understand how he successfully stabbed his mother, but she was saved by a belt buckle. He doesn't telegraph.
It does not. Yeah, you don't see it coming.
I believe I'm seriously angry and you won't like it when I'm angry. Stab.
What I love about Dr. Ben Carson is he has no problem calling both. There was something yesterday I was with Neil Cavuto, and Neil Cavuto goes, well, isn't that correct? And he's like, no. He just continues. I've never seen anyone more.
What he just did though? Yeah. He just called the entire left animals.
Yes. Yep.
I know. You know, some people on the left are blacks, so, poking the racial barrier, though, at least I said, I wasn't saying all Republicans and conservatives are animals. I'm just saying, you know, some might have animal characteristics, you know. I agreed with what he said. You know, I don't think everybody. Ben, wait,
That's why they're
Ben.
mad.
That was hilarious.
Oh,
Why they're
sorry.
mad. Oh my God, came from
Savage.
Dr. Carson. And so this was, of course, the joke that we made last week. People were very offended by. It wasn't even a joke, actually. It was just sort of in passing. And I understand because it kind of echoes a little bit when we were talking about the equity and the farmer subsidies, what Dr. Ben Carson was talking about. So this is the affront in question. His America Rescue Plan includes farmer reparations. Now, what does that mean? It means, and I don't know where you find this many farmers of color, but they did, and $5.2 billion are being allocated exclusively for colored farmers. Farmers of color. Yeah, most happy about the new policy, these people. So yeah, I'm on back. Wow, man! I'm gonna plant that corn.
It was a black person with glasses, seemed to be kind of gang-like, and his accent. Why?
Don't get a job there. Barack Obama, mother. I'm the president. I'm plowing that air.
I thought the last thing they would want to do was be farmers. Wasn't that a big problem for hundreds of years?
Yeah. Isn't that why Arsenio Hall called himself the urban man's Johnny Carson?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, the most offensive part of all is that people did not catch the, from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's true.
Yeah. Barack Obama, I'm the president, hitting that ass. Now, let's be really clear. We also made fun of white Detroiters who find themselves riddled with meth addiction.
Don't white people just go to their neighborhoods and build urban farms and ruin their Isn't that what
we're in Detroit. Turns out the soil content is a high level of meth.
crazy?
Well, you could have said the white population, then maybe, but other than that.
Oh, I don't know.
That and teeth.
I guess the first part was kind of racist, how you were like, yeah, really? And there was another one,
Littered everywhere. It's still funny.
Well, not only that, it got put out that we were obviously saying something very hateful to the point that I had friends who just read.
I mean, it depends on how you did it, and how you did it was kind of really, at least racially insensitive. Racist? I don't know. Racially insensitive? Yeah,
Guy who was a close friend of mine actually get very offended and put out there that it was some propaganda stuff I was spewing when I was...
mean, you help spew propaganda. I don't think you really are a propagandist like Crowder, but you do help spew propaganda, though.
Simply just reacting, making a joke. And I even told him, I'm like, look, maybe it's not my best moment, but why do you have to take everything to that level?
Well, they have to take it out of context, too. Again, the context that was never included is, okay,
I was ripping on white people.
Yeah, we were ripping on white people, and a statistical reality in that government is corrupt. And let me explain to you what I'm talking about. You're more offended at the joke pointing out government corruption than the actual government corruption. So Biden's COVID relief bill, the infrastructure, there's so many bills, $5.2 billion was going to farmers of color.
Yeah,
now,
we had to fix a lot of the trash that Trump did for years.
Piece of that pie, of all farm subsidies, okay? Right. There are only 45,000 black farmers in the country. So we've talked about this. So that's less than 2%. Out of 3.4 million farmers, that means that 45,000 are black. That's about 1.3%. I've seen numbers even lower, as low as 0.6. I've seen them as high as 1.8. The point is, around 1% of all farmers are black in this country, and they're getting 50% of those subsidies. Wow. So keep in mind, white people will be getting, if you average it out, about $1,400 to $1,600 per person. This means that if this bill was honest, every single black farmer in the country would be getting $110,000 to $120,000. So either, and again, the context we were going over, either all of this money, and it wouldn't be that hard to ask all the black farmers, there aren't that many of them, either they are making out like a pump, or the government is filled with bureaucracy and red tape, and that money's not actually going to farmers. In other words, the way to help black farmers is not to have the government take a big old cut, and they'll probably only see about the $1,300 that white farmers see anyway. So the issue here is, of course, basing a policy on the color of people's skin, people going along with it, and then not saying what's going on the right hand with them pocketing the money. Well, you know, that's administrative fees. Those are overhead costs. Now, we, of course, are not, and I think all of us, though, realize that we need to do better.
Yeah, every day.
Sure. And,
True, we do. I do. But doing better doesn't just mean making worse jokes. Doing better means maybe being a better person. Maybe repent.
We wanted to make sure that we weren't just an echo chamber, that we had people to keep us in check, and so we actually...
What? You got Michael Knowles, and you have, like, Candace Owens, and then you got Glenn Beck. Very diverse.
Now
But
check in with our person of color, the farmer correspondent.
Gosh. It was I think, purple truck pretty much going up and down. Like, oh, our black farmer there. You had to do another one, Crowder. You just had to do another one.
Well, I guess the money got where we're going.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That could tip over eventually.
Yeah. There's a TV in the back of the headrest for sure.
I have a... Yeah, probably a PlayStation.
PlayStation 2.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's the one that you would still...
Funkmaster Flex showed up was like, all right, listen, I'm going to put a fish tank in your back seat. Like, how would you ever do this? I have no use for this. Because it's dope? It's because MTV's running out of ideas.
That way, if you get rear-ended, all the glass is
Not
going to hurt
racist.
too bad, and the salt water going to sting the wound.
At least
Not to
racially
mention, I
sensitive.
illegally put a shark in there. I poached that shit.
I don't know where I got a shot. It's a helmet.
Pimp My Ride. That was the worst. I had a friend who was on Pimp My Ride. It's the only organization that does that, and it's the only organization that has seen their numbers go up.
Yeah.
The UFC compared to the NBA, record low ratings right
I
now.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that they separate.
Yes. Because...
You can't speak out against what China is doing in Hong Kong, and you kick fans out of the arena in the United States for holding up a sign for that. Screw you. I am absolutely done. It wasn't the Black Lives Matter stuff, so that didn't help. It's the China stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, the China stuff. Not the communist stuff, the China stuff.
By the way, everyone out there, I don't usually encourage boycotts, but the NBA, come on. I want you to drive them down to WNBA like waivers. That's a taste pack.
Yeah, it would be.
Wow. Maybe the corporation, maybe not necessarily all the players, because maybe not all the players are pro-communist China. But anyways.
Didn't watch it all. Yep. Hey, equality, that's socialism. Everyone is equally poor. I want LeBron.
Yes, sure, that's not socialism, but
to get
Of
the
course.
same salary as the best female choreographer. I think that's fair.
Yeah, because it's sexist. For you.
Fair.
Actually, fascist.
85,000,
Maybe.
something like that.
All right, well, let me know when we have more. You said we have a couple of chats. Yeah, I got this one from Kate. Police officers rely on a taser. Okay, so take a gun. All right? Now, give that gun only one shot with less range and no lethality, and sometimes completely ineffective.
Yeah.
It's a taser. So let's just go down to shot placement.
Better tasers.
We're counting on cops to be at point-blank range and have perfect aim every time. That's the only way you
Not
consider a
tackling
taser as a
skills.
substitute for a firearm.
And do you expect that the taser is going to immediately incapacitate them and they're going to be like frozen in time or something like that? No, the knife continues to go forward
this isn't
even
a
if you're
cartoon.
tased.
You don't
It's
send them to the shadow
Maybe
realm.
better tasers.
Yeah, my friends and I never got drunk and snuck up on
Or
each other to
twinkleizers.
shoot them. Tasers and stun guns, we've done it.
Yeah. I've been
Crowder, you're not really making progress in your everyday life. Maybe getting some muscles and better protection and stuff. I'm not an expert on gun holders, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I kind of agree with a little bit of what Crowder was talking about. But most of it was bad, really bad. At the end of the day, Crowder is an authoritarian, sexist, homophobic, racist, xenophobic. Not fascist, but definitely conservative. Extremely conservative.